Live. Secret symbols. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to yet another 40 to Level 1. I am one of your hosts, As Kennedy, here with me as always on the 22nd of June 2021 is the former Twilight Princess of all games, the current Twilight Princess of YouTube, the former CEO of Microsoft, the man of many names, but we just call him one, Andy.
Yes, Mr. Andy Uka here as always.
Uka, get in your buka.
As I'm being referred to on the podcast picture thing. Uka.
Oh yeah, we've got one in. But anyway, thank you everyone for tuning in, watching. If you're here live, welcome, shalom, good evening, guten Nacht, guten Abend, I don't know. Anyway, hello, anyway, thank you for joining us. We did take an extended break over the weekend, but that's because we beasted it with E3 content the week before. Did you do Bloodborne last night? I fell asleep right early. We had no Bloodborne for Andy either last night. And Scotland are now out the Euros, so there's not going to be any late nights really for us until maybe the finals for Andy, depending who's playing. But yeah, Scotland. We played our 3 games, now we're away home. Good for them, do you know what I mean? Here's to 20 years from now, we'll be back.
We'll be back soon. We'll be back in the next one. The funny thing with it is, like, we got to the Euros, right? The Euros, and we didn't even leave the UK. Like, it's funny because, like, when Kilmarnock got into Europe, like a few years ago, we're like, oh yeah, cool, we got into Europe. Well, everyone was all excited, and then we ended up playing a fucking team in Wales. I'm like, oh my god, you expecting like a trip to like to Serbia or like to fucking Italy or something like that? And nah, just down the road to Wales.
Like Kelly boys are renewing their passports and everything, going, oh,
yeah.
Maybe a week in MAGA, lads.
I mean, the team played decent in the 3 games, to be fair. Just it wasn't to be. It will be again soon.
In 20 years. It's Scotland.
In 1 year. 1 year's time we will be. One year's time we will be getting ready, or we'll not be getting ready for the World Cup. They're hosting the World Cup at a weird time next year because it's in fucking Qatar, so they're hosting it in like Qatar's winter, which is in Qatar's. In fact, no, it's the winter basically they're holding it because that's the cold time of the year. Like, cause it's
coming up next on the Global Weather Report with Andy.
Why is it in Qatar? I don't know.
Why do you know the weather for Qatar? No, actually, it's too windy this time of year in Qatar.
I only know because the football's going to be there. But anyway, moving on from that, the Euros are on. Scotland is out. Boo. Sad. England got through. Fuck England. Boo.
Yeah.
But we're here to talk about games.
My interest in football's gone again. But we are here to talk about games, yes, Andy. E3, we covered a lot. We even did an E3 cooldown with Fraser. It came out in 2 parts because we get cut off either via Discord or Streamlabs. I better check your audio in this before we continue.
My audio is so...
I think it's coming through.
It's
I think it's coming through. Hopefully it is. Let's just double check.
We even did an E3 cooldown with Fraser. It came out in 2 parts because... like Qatar's.
Yeah, your audio is fine. So yeah, we are here for our weekly podcast where we discuss everything we've been playing. Do you know, like, it's been a really quiet week for games because even Fred said we kind of hit E3 hard. We did a lot of work for E3. We covered as much as we possibly could. I had fun doing it. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. Like, it felt weird. It felt weird, like, when we stopped. I was tired by the end because obviously we were doing this during the week when I was on holiday taking my kids and Andy was back at work, and we did almost a week.
You sent me a text that said, oh, let's do a daily show, and I'm like, no. Like, it's fine. See, to do it for E3, right? It's cool. Fine. I love doing that because there's lots of things to talk about every day, but on a general day-to-day basis,
there's news every day.
To talk about. There is, absolutely, but unless you're doing that as your job, you can't fucking do it. There's no way we could motivate ourselves to like do this every day.
I think we could do it for the first month and then we'd be like, do you know what, we'll miss Monday. Then we'll be like, do you know what, we'll skip out Thursday. Let's not do Friday. So yeah, it's not that it's not doable, it's just that it's tiring. It's fun, but it's tiring. I don't mean as in it's not worth doing, because obviously I liked every minute of E3. But see, by the end of it, you know what? I'm usually I don't like taking breaks like that from the show. You're just, if not even more so, like, no, we need to. It was mostly the show Tuesdays, but now we've expanded it. We've not really took breaks, but then after E3 we just needed a break ourselves. But we're back this week, so I really didn't play much last week at all, be it through taking the kids places or catching up in E3 or talking with you or doing a show about E3. Just never, it never came to be. I did fire up an old console, Andy, and I had to update it.
Update an old console. So it's not a Mega Drive, it's not like a SNES, maybe a Wii U, maybe?
Was my Wii U, Andy. Because,
Wii U.
and the reason being, obviously Metroid Dread got announced during E3 that quite excited about. And I've only ever really finished one of them. I want to say I finished Prime back in the day. I know I played a chunk of it, and I've at least tried Prime 2. Never played Prime 3. Super Metroid I've played a bit of. So I only ever finished, what's it called? Zero Mission? Metroid Zero Mission, the remake of the first one. I played a few years ago, remember, on the Wii U, when I decided to pull the Wii U out of storage for whatever reason. It was good fun. So I wanted to play Fusion, which is Metroid 4, and it was either that or a GBA, and I'm like, I don't have a GBA, so I bought it off the Wii U shop, which you can no longer purchase direct from. You have to buy it on the website, and then it loads it to your account, so you can download the software.
At least you can still get it though. Like, that's fair.
So you can still. It wasn't too difficult. I mean, it said if you want to purchase this, either buy eShop points or visit the web store. They no longer accept card details. I'm guessing that's
okay.
I'm guessing to
Security
have the security and the payment system must cost a bit more, you know, than actually having the website. Yeah. So at the moment, basically, the website's just there as a host for your re-downloadable games. So that's fine, but you can buy them, so you have to go to like your Nintendo eShop UK or .com or whatever, and buy the game there, and it's absolutely fine. I think it was like £6 for Fusion. That's fine. That's a fine price for that. And because I wanted to play it handheld, obviously. It's a shame, like, see if you're Nintendo, why didn't you have Nintendo 1 to 4 ready to fill the time till October? Like, right now, drop it right now. Here's 4 Metroid games. Like, we've already got Super Metroid there. Samus Returns is only playable in 3DS just now, so let's just bundle that with it, and then give us Fusion and Zero Mission. It's like, just give the 4 just now, because those would have sold, like, because we'll talk more about it obviously in the news, but Metroid sold out, Andy. Like, you can't get it day one at the moment from Amazon.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
I think that will come back, but
Possibly,
it's sold really well. So, I've pre-ordered it, like, coming after launch for the moment, but we'll see.
We won't get into your crazy decision with that £10 extra. And like, anyway, Metroid Fusion. So it's the one after Super Metroid, which is crazy, right? See, when this came up saying Metroid 5, I was like, that's weird. But I fired up Metroid Fusion, Andy, came up saying Metroid 4. You know, obviously, your push start screen says Metroid Fusion, but see, when that goes to black, it comes up and says Metroid 4, like the trailer did. So, as I said to you, I wanted... Did this always happen? Like, because I've always known Super Metroid as Super Metroid. I didn't know it was Metroid 3, but I loaded it up. Yep. Sure enough, after your Super Metroid splash screen, you press start, it comes up saying Metroid 3. And I'm like, huh.
I didn't notice that when I played it either.
Nope. And to confirm, Samus Returns does do the same, because I attempted that the other night. So, Metroid Fusion, Samus, obviously I haven't played Super Metroid. There is a storyline throughout them all, but in this one she's kind of got like a parasite on it. Sorry, spoilers, but I mean, the game's 20 years old now at this point. She's got like kind of a blue suit. It doesn't look as cool as it does in Dread. The new suit she's got looks really, really cool. And it shows you that just slightly tweaking an iconic red and yellow costume by giving it like blue arms basically can make it look awesome. In Fusion though, it's kind of not rubbery looking, but it looks kind of weird because it's almost like the parasites over her. It's very different from Samus Returns, which I'll get back to in a minute, because Samus Returns is a Game Boy game, and this is original Game Boy, back from the day where basically you had the instruction book, and it was like, here's what's going down, here's some enemies, so where have I to go? Oh, you've got a mission, haven't you? I'm like, yeah, I've got a mission. And it kind of transferred over to Samus Returns, that we'll get to again in a minute, where it's like, yeah, you've got to kill, there's 50 Metroids on this planet. They're the guys that attacked us in Metroid, the first Metroid. Samus in the second one goes to kill them in their home planet, and the only clue is go and kill them all. Right, but where do I go next? Wherever there's Metroids. So like, I get it. It's maybe not as difficult as I made out. Maybe some people will find it easier than me, but I didn't. Whereas Metroid Fusion, so you kind of wake up after being kind of saved or brought back to life or rejuvenated or something. They removed the X-Parasite by injecting you with Metroid DNA, because everybody that thinks that the main character is not a robot and it is not called Metroid, it is a woman called Samus Aran. And Amina, Samus Aran. Sorry, I've got a sore throat. I've had the cold all week, and it really sucks because these days everybody looks like you've got the plague.
I found my hay fever really bad like the last few days.
Yeah. So I got sinusitis, so I get sore heads around here, and sore throat's really easy, and sneeze a lot. But I got the cold, and I think it was just through drinking out. You can get it from cans of juice if you just continually drink out of cans of juice all the time, and I was just doing that all holiday. But anyway, Fusion, you enter is it a map room or something, and basically the AI of the ship or the station, whatever it is, says, "Hey, look, dude, this is where you need to go." And then it goes to your map, it does that, zoom in, and goes bing boom, bing boom, bing boom. It's like, that's where you need to go, dude. Head that way. So you're like, okay, cool. So you go and you do whatever task it is, like collect your power up, collect your weapon, investigate, download the map, plug back into the computer, and it's like, hey, get it. Hey, buddy, look over here. That's where you want to go next. And I'm like, this is wonderful. So I understand why back when that came out, so many people complained, because that's such a jump from the SNES and NES days of, here's your game, have fun with it. Like, just go and explore. Whereas this one's more directional and gives you purpose. So they classed it as being a linear Metroid game, but that's true for all the Metroid games. If you know the path that you're meant to go, then it's not going to be kind of open as people describe Metroid. It is going to be linear because that's where the item is and you're meant to go there. Whereas Fusion, it points you the direction you're meant to go. So I get the complaints, but for me it was a wee bit more refreshing. So I played a good chunk of that. I've heard it's not too long, but I did die at the first boss. I was like, man, I haven't saved for a while, so this can get turned off. And I also forgot that for older games on the Wii U, you can actually create a restore point anywhere, so I don't have to rely on Samus's in-game checkpoints and save stations, because you can just push one of the triggers on the Wii U gamepad and create a restore point anywhere. So after that, I decided, you know what, Samus Returns, which is Metroid 2, the remake for the 3DS, I really liked that game. As you know, Andy, I got it day one, I was excited for it, but then I got really, really, really stuck, and I never ever managed to get past that section. And I'm talking, right, here's my map, I'm going to visit every room, boom, 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 right, down the next area, I'm going to visit every room that I can get to, because you know what these games are like. It's like, you can't get through this wall yet, why not? Nah, your gun only fires one, you need to fire two to get through this wall, or you don't have the flamey whammy gun, the electric wet chick thing to get through here, and you need the doubly triple jump. So I was almost close to giving up again, but I really like the movement, the way it looks, even the 3D in it looks really nice. So I took an elevator at the end of the level because I'd been using transporters, because that's your teleporter, and the elevator took me down to an area that I hadn't discovered yet, Andy. So I'm like, son of a bitch, if I'd only went to this fucking elevator instead of, what I was doing is, like, you've got your map in like 3 sections so far, and it's like, teleport back here. So I was teleporting between the two areas, exploring, going, but this time I took the elevator down, I'm like, oh, you fucking idiot, it's It's been there all along. Take the elevator down, and instead of being like all coloured in, like every area is above me, it's like grey. Oh, brand new area to explore. Oh, cool, new enemy types. Oh, great, here's another Metroid, and I'm like, okay, so that was just my dumbassery that got me stuck at that game rather than. But I am happier that this happened this way than I gave up and Googled it, because we decided that a while ago in the show that you don't Google the answer. If you get stuck, you're stuck, and I've stuck with that, and I'm glad.
I do not do this. I Google the answer all the time.
Yeah, you might, but I don't. I'm like, nah, I'm not Googling the answer. So I've been stuck at Metroid for like 2 years just because I decided to transfer everywhere. But I'm fine with that. You know what I mean? I was in no rush to finish it.
Do you know what I do? I Google the answer, right? And I tried to find a text description of whatever it is that I need to do. Like, I'm like, where the fuck do I go? How do I do this? And I tried to find a text description. And then if I can't do it, then I just watch a YouTube video of it and go, oh, okay, right, that's how you do it. And then YouTube
totally
gives me the answer every time.
Oh, wow.
Every single time.
It's not that I didn't know that I could do this.
Google's like maybe 50-50. YouTube is like, boom, done.
Oh, of course. It's not that I didn't know that you couldn't do this. It's that I choose not to do this in games. So, like, Resident Evil.
Why?
Because then I'm not beating the game. Someone else is beating the game for me.
Oh.
Yeah.
You still did it. You just had to look up how to do it.
Nah, no point. That's like an on-rail shooter. So, Resident is exactly like that. Resident Evil 8, I'm stuck at, and I'm fine. It's not that I don't know where to go in Resident Evil 8, it's more that I can't get past the two of them, so I think it's a skill thing in there. But with Metroid, I'm glad that I did, because I feel accomplished. I feel like, well, I got past that bit myself. So yeah, Metroid Dread comes out, you won't be looking up any Google guides. You can discuss things with me, and that's it. You cannot Google that game to get ahead of yourself. And he's just rocking out. Yeah.
I know, sneezing.
But yes, so that's what I did, and I dug out. The thing that annoyed me is I don't mind playing Metroid games on the TV, but you can't use that gamepad as a controller. You can use it as a handheld. It's not comfy by any means, but you can use it as a handheld. So I found my Switch Pro controller, my Wii U Pro controller. But I didn't have a micro USB charger.
Oh, a mini USB.
Mini USB. So I had to order one for £2. And I even messaged Fraser, and he said, "No, last year I cleared out all my cables and binned them." So, and it's not a popular cable these days, mini USBs at all. Nothing really uses it.
I'm sure you could have went down and seen Ian and got one.
Went down and seen Ian. It was a Sunday. It was late at night. I ordered one and got it the next morning.
Okay.
I wasn't at work. This was during my holiday. I wasn't planning on going in town.
Okay. The like you'll always have these lying around if you're a PlayStation VR owner, because they charge the fucking Move controllers.
Is that? Oh yeah, of course, because they were big in PS3 era. So yeah,
I've got 2 or 3 of these lying around in the house because I've got the Move controllers. The Move controllers have a shocking battery on them, by the way, like the
worse
old
than
ones.
a DualSense.
Oh yeah, way worse. Like way worse. You might get 2 hours, maybe 3 out of them.
So yeah, I had to order one of those because you know what it's like. You need a controller, and the game, the Wii U Pro controller isn't the best controller that I've ever used, but it's usable because it's got
Pro Commander.
Micro Pro Commander was the best, but the thing is, because this isn't a 3D game, the D-pad and the buttons are absolutely fine for it, playing it on the big screen.
Yeah,
but I only just got that through, so I'm charging it as we speak, because that ran out of battery ages ago. And also while I was doing this, because the reason I was doing this, I was looking for my Dark Samus Metroid amiibo.
Yeah.
Ordered last year, pre-ordered, date came out January, delivered to my wife's work. I've not seen this amiibo. That's what I realised. I'm like, I've never seen this amiibo. I asked Michael to have a look.
Right, I wonder if you ever got it. Right, let me.
Because I would have messaged you, wouldn't I? I would have sent you a photo of it.
You would have. You've changed phones, so you wouldn't have it in your phone anymore.
I wouldn't, but you would.
I've changed phones as well, though. So maybe
since last January, yeah.
Yeah. Let's see.
But anyway, while Andy's talking, so basically, I wanted to find my Dark Samus because I've got my amiibo upstairs in a box, and I've got the original Samus. I've got the Samus crouching for Samus Returns with the Varia suit. I've got Ridley. I've got the Metroid brain, and I've got Samus in her Zero suit. I also managed to get a pre-order of Samus in the Dread suit with the Emmy, is it? The robot, whatever the robot's called. And I'm like, where the fuck is Dark Samus? So I spent all day looking through the loft, looked through everything. I'm like, I can't see this at all. And I'm like, you can still buy it. And Dark Samus seems to be one of those that I reckon it's going to be like Ken and Ryu, like, it's for sale now, but you ain't going to be able to buy that all the time once it's sold out. So I thought, do you know what, I'm just going to buy it. So I picked up Dark Samus the other day, $14.99 off of Nintendo, which is fine, that's standard price. But that means I've got my complete Metroid collection. Not that I use them for anything, those are just those and Star Fox. Probably my two favourite Nintendo franchises are those two. Even though we've not had a Star Fox game in I don't know how many years, but I like the figures for them. Not that we'll get many Star Fox ones, I don't think. So, I had to order Dark Samus.
So on the 17th of January, you sent me a text saying my Dark Samus arrives today, finishing my Metroid collection.
Right.
But you did not send me a picture.
Which means that I didn't get it.
Never got it.
Yep. This says to me that I got the tracking that it was being delivered because I asked them to look through the shop and they said there's nothing sitting here. And this was last year, wasn't it? 2020.
Yeah.
Right.
2020. I still have those that shit from back then.
Right. So this was after the move then, Andy, because I moved in 2019, so it couldn't have been lost in the move, which means the Samus figure. Do you know how it might have get lost between COVID shutdowns, close downs, and
yeah.
So it's either been moved at the shop, like thrown away at the shop with stuff, or somebody's picked it up and meant to give it to me and then forgot about it, because sometimes these amiibos come in smallish packs because they're only at this height.
Brown Amazon
nondescript
box,
Amazon box.
And the problem is the weight of the box would
nothing.
There was almost nothing in it.
So somebody could have shook it and went, bin that, because they did do a clear out in the shop before they closed last March, it would have been. So yeah, I'll accept that, because I mean at $14.99 I got another one. I'm not collecting, and people are like, oh, are you sitting these, hoarding these for money? I'm not. Like, even the squishy Metroid brain one that is worth money, I've opened because I want to display these. So it's cool that I've got them all. I did get a parcel through today, but I'm not sure if that is Dark Samus or not. The only thing that you can use them really in Smash Brothers anyway. Like, I don't know if they do any. Oh, Samus Returns, one of them does something.
Yeah, they don't really. I think they give you extra life containers or something.
What it does, it just refills your rockets or something, I'm sure.
Yeah. They do different things in different games, but like I think the design of them, like, they're designed to be collectibles. It doesn't fucking matter that they do shit in the games, to be honest. I think all it does is keep them being slightly rare for some of it. But like, they look fucking awesome. Like, I've got a bunch of them. Like, I've got a couple of I've got both the Samus ones. I don't have the Dark Samus. Like, I've got the normal Samus ones though.
Have you got the crouching Samus and the standing?
Yeah.
So the crouching one, crouching one's actually worth more because it came out for the 3DS one. Have you got Zero Suit Samus?
Do I have that one? Maybe.
Blue
I've got that one as well. Yeah,
so you've got all three of Samus.
Apart from, I don't have the Dark Samus.
That's not actually Samus. It's like,
oh, okay.
I know you. It's kind of like,
know that. I have no idea.
It's kind of like an evil version of her from the Shadow universe. Well, depending, because in one of the games it's kind of like her suit get taken away, and like the parasites kind of possessed her suit almost, and that's what happened there. So watch a story video of 10 minutes before you play Metroid 5 to catch yourself up with this.
I will.
I mean, the games are fun enough to play, and the good thing about them is because they're 2D games, I know Metroid Prime isn't, but because these ones are 2D games, they've aged really well, and like Super Metroid is constantly in the top 10 games of all time, and the fact that Super Metroid's in the Switch is perfect. I can't wait to like be able to put the Wii U back in the loft to start playing handheld on my Switch again, Super Metroid, to get it out the road, because I don't mind playing in the 3DS, but seeing the fucking Wii U, like holding this gamepad, it's like holding a dinner tray these days, and I know it's kind of like your Proto Switch, but it's absolutely giant. God bless the Wii U, because if there was no Wii U, there would have been no Switch. But yeah, it's not. Move, cat.
I will, like, at some point in the next month or two, go back and play some some Super Metroid. Because I'm gonna get Metroid Dread. Like I said, I have ordered it, and I was kind of in two minds because of the price point of it. But I'm like, do you know what? Like, this is like a new game. This is gonna have a lot of content, and it looks good. And I think things like this we should support things like this, because
these are the games we like.
Yeah, and this is the type of game that I like as well. So, like, I need to support this, like, and hopefully Nintendo does more shit like this. So
this is the daddy of Metroidvania. Remember, like Castlevania is the mummy. This is the daddy of these games that you like a lot. Like, and Metroid and Castlevania games. I'm not a fan of Castlevania at all, but I love Metroid.
Yeah. It's cool.
Metroid is really fun. Slow. It is very slow, and it's whoosh, with your swip, and I just don't like the aesthetic. And I know blasphemy, because it's a lot of folks' favourite series, but I can see what I mean. It's very like Metroid. It's like, here's an area. How do I get there? Oh, I can't. Okay, I've got this cool whip. Oh, I can go back there later on, and I can get to a new area, and it works perfectly. And Metroid balances it so well that unless you get lost like me, then it doesn't feel like you're constantly going backwards and forwards through a level, you know. It's basically like, okay, now revisit the level you were in and see those bits that really annoyed you. Off you go. And I don't mean like Returnal, that it's like throwing it in your face going, you're never getting here. You're never getting to this bit. So Metroid's more about exploration rather than just bastard hardness, because I don't think Metroid games are hard inherently. It's just a platform game with exploration as a focus.
The other reason that I want to go back and play Super Metroid actually is nothing to do with Metroid. It's because I played through Carrion earlier on this year, and that's a that's a Metroidvania game. Obviously you play as like the villain in that game.
He plays Carnage.
That's a he plays Carnage basically. But that is a Metroidvania game where you're going and you're getting abilities for your like symbiote, and you have to go back to different areas and unlock them and do all that shit. And I really enjoyed that and thought it was great. So, like, and that was like a good few months ago now. Like, that was the beginning of this year I played through that. So, I could do another one of these now, for sure.
I mean, they don't outstay their welcome. Like, these older ones, you're maybe talking 8 to 10 hours, maybe 12 without getting lost. Metroid Dread, I'm going to savour, though. Like, it looks really fun. Metroid Dread's kind of more in the 2.5D style almost, because, like, there's sections where it goes over a shoulder.
Exactly,
And my favourite one of these was called Shadow Complex. That was a Metroidvania game. Remember that game?
I played that, yeah. That's cool. I got stuck at a point in that, and then it went off Game Pass, and I never went.
So that was a game by Chair, I believe the company was called, and Epic Games ended up buying them back when they were kind of Microsoft affiliated rather than their own sort of thing. And I remember it coming out, and you played as a guy, and you had to go after his girlfriend into this like sort of installation. It was almost like the reverse of Metroid, where in Metroid, if you get hit, your suit comes off. Not like Ghosts and Goblins, but your suit comes off. In this, you got parts of the power suit and powered yourself up on the way, so it was really fun, that game. It's so weird that it got a remaster, but there's never been any news of a sequel to Shadow Complex.
The remaster just must not have sold very well.
Because everybody that wanted to play it already played it, is the way I see it. Like,
well, yeah, I think what happened is everyone that had already played it either just didn't buy it, or those people just bought it and played it again and went, cool, I like that game again. And they didn't attract any new people, which is what remasters have really tried to do. They're trying to bring in a new audience into the game.
Yeah, of course.
And that didn't pick anything up, so no sequel.
No, of course. But anyway, back to Metroid. So Metroid Prime 4 is the one that me and you have both been looking forward to, but that's years away. We might get to see it next year.
Yeah.
Might get to see it next year, but that's years away, because, well, the game, like we said before, they fired everybody, basically. They hired everybody. The development got restarted as they were about to unveil the bloody game, So
Do you know what? Do you know what gives me confidence with that is the fact that Square did this as well with Final Fantasy VII.
yeah,
They
I'm confident with
changed
it.
the developer entirely.
See
So
see
I
if
think
you
that
look.
game's gonna be fine.
So Metroid might not be Zelda or Link or Zelda, Link or Ash from Pokemon, or it might not be Mario or Luigi. But I mean, this is still a top tier Nintendo game. You know, Metroid's still one of their known brand exclusives. So tentpole franchise. So they're not going to go in there and go, yeah, just push it out. If they go in there and it's a lot of shit, which is what apparently happened, Reggie walked in and went, This isn't getting shown to anyone. Get rid of it and restart.
Like, burn it to the fucking ground.
And
No one sees this ever.
And that's basically what happened. I mean, even Nintendo from years ago, there's very, very little leaks on unreleased stuff. Unless you're getting like documentaries or fan films where they've interviewed people and they talk about it, or art books, you're not really seeing anything. Nintendo only show you finished product or close to ready products. They're like, this is what it's going to be, this is what it's going to look like. They don't go, yeah, here's where we are. They just went, okay, Metroid Prime 4 was coming, but we've just restarted the whole thing. That's as honest as they were. And that literally means that Reggie kicked in the door and went, give us a look. Fucking hit delete. You're fired. Get a fucking new studio.
You can imagine them just like try to hold the door. Like, Reggie, don't come in. I'm not ready. I'm not dressed.
No, but
you can't see me like this.
No, but that's literally what's happened, and I am happier that they would rather do this than go just release it as is, because there's plenty of studios that would just push stuff out the door and go, you've had your time, it's coming out. But you can't take these risks these days, and if anything, Cyberpunk, one of the biggest third party titles, one of the most anticipated ones, shown that the fans won't put up with it these days. We're spending hard-earned money on your shit, and if you release shit, we're going to go, fuck it, we want our money back, we want to return it. Like, you're going to hear us all over the internet. It's not a case of release the game and then ignore the fan magazines, who gives a shit, move on to the next one. These days, the day it's out, the world can see, and it affects your sales, and it affects your brand recognition, your company, your strength as a brand name. You release a bad Metroid Prime 4, Metroid 5, it would be harder to fuck up. I'm just saying, because I'm not saying it's paint by numbers, but people know what to expect from that game. Metroid Prime 4 has to take it to another level while remaining faithful. It has to bring it up to date with modern day shooter controls while remaining faithful to the old trilogy. So if they've walked in and went, this plays like shit, they're not going to release it, and they're not even going to show anybody it. There's going to be no leaks. Obviously, Nintendo must kill your family or something if you talk about stuff, because nobody in that, no one in that company speaks. No one comes out and leaks stuff. Even leaks that come out are mostly educated guesses when it comes to Nintendo. They're mostly people following market trends, kind of what we do with our guesses on this show, because sometimes if people watch this show, they might say, but Ali, you and Andy are so accurate with your predictions. We are and we aren't. It's mostly because we cover this on a regular basis, and we've done it for so many years now that we can see the way things go and happen. Like, I'm pretty sure one of our predictions a few weeks back was a 2.5D Metroid, because it seemed about time for another one.
You predicted it for sure, yeah. You predicted it. I didn't. You did.
Yeah, but you've done your fair share of predicting as well. So this is what I mean about Nintendo. I don't think it's leaks. I think it's educated guesses of, it's about time they dropped one of these. And so Metroid Prime 4, I can't wait for, but Metroid Dread, I'm hyped for. The Metroid series, if you've never tried any of them, guys, you can play them all via Wii U or 3DS if you want to do it legit, or bang an emulator. Well, there's nothing wrong. There's retro guys out there that listen to this show.
I know. I mean, I would say your starting point is Super Metroid on the Switch. Like, that's your starting point.
I would disagree if you're playing from a story. So if it's easily
no, I don't. Sorry, I don't mean from a story point of view. But if you've never tried Metroid before, which a lot of people haven't, because it's a kind of
fire up that icon you've never used on your Switch. It says SNES.
Fire up the Nintendo Switch online.
I'll give
use
you that.
the SNES, the Wii SNES app, and it's in there as part of your Nintendo Online subscription. If you have one. And it's only, I think it's 20 quid for a year, or you can get a discounted one for about 12 quid.
Or a free trial if you've never signed up. So play it. Play a Metroid game this week and let us know how it was at 42 level 1. Or comment in the video below and let us know what you thought of Metroid playing them. Are you excited about Metroid Dread? Let us know. But like I said, Wii U or 3DS are the two only legitimate ways to play the entire series right now and give the company money for these games. If you're not into that, I'm pretty sure a couple of Google searches will result in you being able to play it within 10 minutes. Just saying. There are ways and means, even though these sites are getting shut down, you can find the entire series, even the Prime games, playable from your very own laptop.
You know, I never realised that Super Metroid is Metroid 3.
Yep.
Like, I always thought it was Metroid 2, because I didn't realise the
2
second
came to
one
the Game
was
Boy.
actually like a mainline. Yeah, I didn't realise the second one was like mainline. I thought it was an offshoot.
No, it came to the Game Boy, which is weird. They've kind of flip-flopped between console and handheld, which other like PlayStation would never do that. Like Uncharted Golden Abyss was a spin-off. They were never going to release Uncharted 2 on the PSP only. Sorry, PS
Yeah, that
only.
would be really weird.
Whereas Nintendo have done this with the main series.
They've done it with Mario. They've done it with Mario as well. Like,
Absolutely.
Back and forward with different ones, Mario World and stuff.
They absolutely did. 3D Mario Land, that was handheld only. So Metroid, so you can play them. The Prime series as well, the three of them, they happen, I can't remember if they happen after 2 or before 2. I think it's after 2, before Super. I've got a timeline. I shared it in the group chat. If any of you guys want us, hit us up and I'll share it with you. But basically, the Prime games are canon, but they happen after the first or second one, and the three of those ones kick in. And then you've got Super Metroid Fusion. There's also Other M as well, which I wouldn't say is as necessary. I've owned it before, and it's kind of it's okay. It's a third-person action game. It doesn't really work. But the main ones you want to play are
On the Wii, that one, isn't it?
Wii.
Other M.
Yeah, Other M.
Yeah.
So the ones that you want to play though, you can play Metroid as well on your Switch. The original version of Metroid's on the NES emulator.
You
I would not recommend that version. It's very hard, very challenging, and limited colour palette. Whereas the Zero Mission is an example of a remake that replaces the original. If you've got access to Zero Mission, there's no need for you to play Metroid. And you know how I like the originals sometimes a lot more than the remakes and whatnot, but Zero Mission adds in colour, gives you a bit more of modern features and touches, and also gives you a bit more of a story. So play Zero Mission on Game Boy Advance somehow, or Wii U. That's the only two places that you can play that. Samus Returns also replaces the original Game Boy version of Return of Samus.
Totally. Of course, yeah.
And that's readily available. You could probably order that, like, and buy Samus Returns. But the only place to play that is the 3DS, and then Super Metroid Switch is the way to play it. Or if you've got a Super
Mini,
Super Nintendo Mini, you play it there as well. And the only way to play the Prime games are GameCube or Wii. You can play the entire trilogy on the Wii. You can play the first two in the GameCube. So again, a Google search and a Wii, you can be playing all of these games by the end of the show if you really wanted to. Can't advise emulation in ROMs, but the options are there. Nintendo take sites down, other ones pop up every other day. It's just becoming harder to trust sites with their little adverts with the wee X in the corner. But a VP...
You just have to know where to click.
Yeah, that's it. You have to know where to click, and they do work. But I would say it's cleaner and easier to use a VPN and torrents. Not that I can recommend that, but...
Like, those websites are the ones that they always have 15 buttons that say download, and you need to find the right one that's the actual download button.
I miss the days of Pirate Proxy working all the time. But it's Pirate Proxy. It used to be Pirate Bay or like those sort of things. Yeah, but anyway, those days are done. But yeah, buy them legit, because you can buy all 4 of them on the Wii U plus the trilogy. Like, you can purchase them legit on your Wii U via your eShop. If you've got a Wii U upstairs, maybe now's the time to bring it down. But definitely, if you've got a Switch, try Super Metroid. I couldn't advise playing Metroid 1. It's very dated at this point. The challenge is so high, like arcade still high, where the games were still designed to kill you. So yeah, that's all I've played this week. It's just been Metroid, but I've made such good progress in Samus Returns, and I'm just enjoying that game, having a blast. I've now got the Varia suit, which is, the big ball spikes on her shoulders that can make me go through flames. So I don't think I'm close to the end, because there's 50 Metroids and I've only killed 20 of them, because my wee counter says 30, and I know to finish this game and trigger the last boss, you have to kill all 50 of these. So Further progress in that will be made. But like I said, I finished Zero Mission. Samus Returns I'm a good chunk into, so I'm going to finish that. And then it's just Super Metroid and Fusion. And Fusion, I've heard, can be finished in 4 to 5 hours. So,
Nice one.
easily doable by October. Aside from that, I didn't play any of the big games, really. My PlayStation 5 was on... What? Yes, I did.
Yeah, you played Ratchet.
Was that not 2 weeks ago? I didn't play Ratchet this week.
Yeah, no, Thursday. No.
But did I?
Just came out.
Did it just come out last week? It feels like a long week.
Yeah.
Was it Thursday? Yeah.
So.
Move, please, cat.
You've definitely. So we didn't remember last Tuesday. We didn't actually do a normal show. We just did Nintendo and then did the other thing. We didn't actually talk about the games we've been playing. So I've played 2 games.
Sorry.
Like you've not talked about Ratchet on the show, so we need to know about Ratchet, mate.
Sorry, yeah, okay, so Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. My first impressions video is up if you want to hear my first impressions. However, that game's phenomenal. Like, it looks really nice. It just they've had this formula perfected since the PS2 days, you know. It's not, they're masters of the craft. Like, playing through it, I honestly looked at it and I went, this looks better than Mario Odyssey. And that's hard to say because Mario Odyssey, Nintendo are usually on point. And like, Mario Odyssey is a nice looking game, but I'm like, Nintendo, Mario can't do this just now. On the Switch, they can't do this. I'm not saying Nintendo can't, right? But Insomniac Games, like, man, this is their nicest looking. It's nicer looking than Spider-Man. It's nicer looking. This is their nicest looking game they've released. Ratchet and Clank, like I said, are always like. There's 2 things I show off PlayStations with. One is either a DVD, Blu-ray, or now 4K version of Advent Children, Final Fantasy VII movie.
Okay.
That's how I show off what that looks like. And the other thing I show off the graphics, gameplay wise, has always been Ratchet and Clank 2016 for the PS4, or God of War, to be fair. PS3, it was always Ratchet and Clank Tools of Destruction, I believe. PS2, even Ratchet and Clank 2 and 3, I showed off, look what PS2 can do to people. So, and that was when I was using my Advent Children DVD, by the way. On the PSP, even, Andy, with UMD of Advent Children, and also my Ratchet and Clank Size Matters game, Ratchet and Clank is a benchmark for what the system can do graphically. These aren't open world games. They're more like your Mario Odyssey, where you've got a hub kind of area and branching path game is the best way to put it. You've got a variety of enemies, be it big ones, small ones. This game could work in PS4, and I know I said this before it. They downgrade a few things, they can bring it out. I don't think they will, but they could.
Nah, I don't think they will. After seeing Microsoft's press conference, they will not touch it. They will not touch it. They'll not go back.
And there was a big backlash over God of War and something else being in PS4, wasn't there? Gran Turismo.
Gran Turismo, it was, Gran Turismo. Yeah.
People are like, what are you doing? But anyway, PS5, I get what they're doing. It's business, 117 million units versus...
100%.
So,
yeah, makes sense.
But Ratchet and Clank, Andy, this is the system seller. This is the one to go. Look at my PS5. What's the Series X got at the moment that looks like this? The answer is nothing. Nothing. Like, I know we had the medium.
It's coming to PS5. So.
Yeah, so it's no longer exclusive. Plus, that's kind of a B rather than a A game.
Yep.
This is a triple fucking A, massive Avengers movie level of a fucking game. Ratchet and Clanks don't come all the time. And like last gen, we only had one. The cool thing about this, Andy, story-wise, I won't ruin any of it because it's really fun. Because there's like, what, 15 Ratchet and Clank games? Something like that.
No, maybe not as many as that. There's more than 10, though. There's definitely more than 10.
Yeah, I would say there's close to 15, right?
There's a lot.
That's me hazarding a guess. But anyway, you don't need to play all them for backstory. See what they did last game. They kind of incorporated the movie with the original game and made its own kind of hybrid. Yep. This game could literally follow on right away because Ratchet and Clank are sitting there. It's like, it's been a while since we've done anything heroic. Like, so it's almost as if they've had time off. Like, so you could literally go from the 2016 remake into this and go, oh, cool, they've just been lazy fucks. So there is
going blind. Could you
What?
go in blind? That's going blind. Like, never played a Ratchet and Clank game before. This is your first one.
Yeah. They're set up at the start because basically when you meet the two of them, they're kind of saying they've not been heroes for a while. So it's almost like, I don't know how to...
New beginning. A soft reboot.
It's very soft. It is a continuation. 100% a continuation. It's a jumping on point. So...
Yeah, okay, yeah.
The reason I'll say that you can jump on is because everything's explained. Like, you walk out their garage and, like, Quark's like, oh, we've put a parade on for you to celebrate your past exploits that you've just talked about that you've not been doing any of. And as you hop through this parade that's floating through the city, which is immense looking with giant floats, balloons, crowds cheering, things going on beneath you, you know, you get to go through almost a floating museum of Ratchet and Clank's exploits in a very brief way, but it's like, here's what they've done, boom, 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 boom. So you get, okay, these two guys are heroic. Jump, do this. Okay, so I jump, I can do this. Oh, this is my little robot pal. Okay, I get it. Yeah. People that have never played Ratchet and Clank can jump on here. Every Ratchet and Clank since the PS3 and I've went, I feel like I'm playing a Pixar game, and this time I genuinely do. Like, the loading from the cutscenes, like, I'm sitting going, no way this is going straight into gameplay, and every fucking time it does, it just goes camera cut in, you're controlling. And it's like going from a sweeping camera in or moves past your face to just behind the head, and you get to move straight away. So it's not like there's any splice moments or like any cuts or load time. It's just literally the cutscene goes from action, boom, boom, boom to down the side street there. It's you controlling the action. And they did this very similarly in Spider-Man, but it's done far nicer here. Like, they've done it very well in Spider-Man. You know what I mean? Sometimes in the cutscene it'll be swinging, and then all of a sudden the camera will zoom in to Spider-Man and you'll be swinging. This is even more fluid than that so far. I've not finished the game because I've not been beasting it by any means. Your weapons are fun in it. I am missing Mr. Zircon because I loved Mr. Zircon is here to serve, and he's the wee robot guy that's like killing everybody. The alternate universe is fun, but it doesn't work the way that I expected when I first seen it, that you could use the rifts at any point, you know, to swap between dimensions. There's certain sections in the game, so you'll have like an area where it's like the hot zone for where all the firing's going on, and though you'll maybe see one like up in the corner here behind enemies, and up in the corner, if you press L1 to go through the rift or to pull it towards you, it's almost like it's pulling that part of the scenery towards you, so it just goes and you appear behind them. It will work in a Spider-Man game if they want to use it, you know, to dimension hop, but they'll need to use it a bit smarter than just quick travel across battle arenas almost, you know, to fight. So yeah, it's fun. It's a very fun, really nice looking game. Is it worth £70? Absolutely. This isn't Returnal. Absolutely worth £70. It turns out to be a fucking glaring disappointment. Time suck. I
mean, I did tell you that. Like,
you did.
I
was excited, and it was the first PS5.
I know. I can see Ratchet being worth 70. Like, I can see it. From everything I've seen about the game, and yeah, like, it seems to be worth 70. I'm going to buy it.
So I knew going in I would love Ratchet. I knew that I would. However, this is a game that I can happily recommend to people, and now I am saying to people, mate, do you remember Ratchet and Clank? And they're like, oh yeah, that old game. You need to try the new one, or at least see it. And I've shown them trailers like at work and stuff, and they're like, that looks like that now. I goes, yeah, try it. If you get your PS5, try it on your TV. It looks phenomenal. This game might benefit from a demo if they dropped one, you know, to remind folk Ratchet and Clank's still a thing. You want to see what it looks like? Have a look. Not a long demo, just give an initial...
Like 10, 20 minutes
maximum, not even that. Just here's what fucking... The bit I would show isn't even the floats and stuff, which was kind of nice and made you smile hopping through it. Even when you get to the first part of the main city, controlling there would be a good way, because it's all like cyberpunk, neo-noir style looking, sort of dank kind of place. That's the place I would show, like walking about one of the markets or space stations. My favourite part so far, and I think you'll agree you'll like this, I will play a spin-off of this happily, and it's Clank sort of like... There's two sort of puzzle sections. There's one where you go like a little spider bot that can kind of like crawl up walls and stuff, and you have to kind of destroy things to open locks. Fairly straightforward. But the Clank sections remind me of if they brought out Lemmings just now, this is what it would be. So you've got like images of Clank like endlessly running like dig 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 dig. And you've got like these platforms, and you've got to get them from A to B safely by like turning things, you know, because they'll just run and go off the edge, and you've got to like block them or like make them speed up. And you do that by you do some platforming, collect the orbs, and you throw the orb in front of them, and that'll make them run fast. And then in the next section, you throw in the heavy one, so it'll make them sink, you know. And I'm having so much fun with these sections that I would honestly play a full game of Clank. This is if is it DMA that did Lemmings? I believe it was DMA Design, but I don't know who owns it now.
I'm not sure.
If the person, I want to say it's EA. Pretty sure there was a rubbish version of it on your phone by EA. If the person that owns the Lemmings license is out there and listening, play Ratchet and Clank and make a new Lemmings game exactly like those sections, and people will love it. So yeah, the puzzle parts of it are fun. Upgrading systems, a bit like your Sphere kind of grid and multiplayer games, Final Fantasy games, kind of like Sphere grid, and yeah, it's really good. Yeah, I can recommend it to everybody. I wanted to throw in here that I've played a bit of Final Fantasy Origin as well. Forgot about that.
Oh yeah, the demo one.
Yeah, it's fun. It is like Demon Souls, more so than Star Wars Fallen Jedi is, but it needs a lot of work. Like, this does feel like... Imagine they ported a PS3 game to PS4. This doesn't feel like PS5 at the moment. If they work at this could be fucking exciting. Like Bloodborne with Final Fantasy enemies. The job system that you can swap on the fly is pretty cool. Like, instead of just being stuck as a soldier or a knight or a wizard or a mage, you can be your wizards and then swap to a soldier and then swap to a lance job. And I like that idea, and you've got different skill trees. So the demo finishes in like 4 days. I've made quite a bit of progress through the castle, and I think it's really cool. I'm all for buying it. But yeah, it needs a lot of work. This game needs to make me go, ooh. That's what the game needs to make me do. I think this game's like next year, 2023 anyway. Like, this is like early alpha demo. But yeah, I mean, it has potential. Definitely has potential. It's been made by the right team. Like, the combat feels okay. It's just the world itself's a bit uninspired just now. It's a bit empty feeling. And I know sometimes Bloodborne, Demon Souls and stuff can have kind of duller areas, but this entire world so far feels... at least Bloodborne or Demon Souls spices up with, look at this fucking thing, and I've not had that yet. So yeah, Ratchet and Clank, Metroid, covering E3. Kids are now back to work, man. Like, it's been a long week and a half, feels like almost 2 weeks.
So, Lemmings, I just looked it up, right? Sony owns Lemmings.
Right. Sony
owns Lemmings. Sony, like, as in PlayStation, owns Lemmings.
Listen.
Are you fapping to that? Like, I couldn't see you.
No. Sony need to...
Sony owns Lemmings. Exclusive Lemmings on PS5. Come on.
Sony need to do this. Don't make it a big title. Release it as a £20, £30 title. Put Insomniac on it while they're in between games just now, having some downtime. Get the sorry, this is downgrading because it's a superb puzzle. Get the wee guy that's made the puzzle element of the Clank sections
to make the Lemmings game.
Lemmings game, and you have got a fucking solid winner in your hands. Do it now, please. That's a weird one. How did Sony end up with that? Clearly not making much use of it. They had it in the PSP.
Psygnosis. Yeah, but they bought Psygnosis.
And that was one of the properties.
They then turned them into Sony Liverpool and then closed them, but they obviously still own the Lemmings franchise from that. So yes, Sony owns Lemmings.
So this is coming together quite nicely. That would be amazing, Andy. Wait till you play it or watch some gameplay at least, and you'll see what I mean. Those ratchets.
I'm gonna play it.
The first thing I thought of was this is cool. Like I liked it, but the first thing I thought of was you slap lemon skins on Clank here, and this could be a fucking amazing Lemmings game. Like really good. So yeah, all good in that sense. But my focus is at least banging out Samus Returns. I should be able to finish it in a week. Oh, excuse me. I would like to think so. I could be wrong, and I'm easily distracted, as people will know. But yeah, what I'm going to do at this point, because I need some more juice to stay awake, is throw the mic back over to the esteemed one, Andy Uka, over there, and he can tell us all about 2 games that he's played throughout this week. Andy.
Yeah, so first of all, I did, after the previous show, finish Mass Effect 1 finally. I was on holiday like the week before last, and I wanted to wrap that game up just to get it out of the way, because that game was a slog to get through for the gameplay for me. The storyline, I enjoyed it thoroughly. It was a well-told story, good characters and stuff in it. I liked all of the cutscenes. All the cutscenes were great. Almost all of the gameplay was garbage. The last part of it was, I could see how it could have been fun back in the day, but the rest of it, I'm like, this is fucking no fun. It was like big empty worlds and all that, and like it's very old archaic game design. Now Ali tells me the second one improves on all of that, and I haven't started it yet. I wanted to give myself a little bit of breathing distance in between that and this other game came out that I wanted to play. So yeah, but Mass Effect 1 is done and dusted, and I will move on to Mass Effect 2 imminently within the next couple of weeks. But I
also finished through Mass Effect 1. I forgot about that. So
okay.
I've got the opposite feeling, but I'm playing it with nostalgia. So for me, I can feel the improvements and appreciate them while realising it's still dated, but I mean, it's painting over cracks on a 14-year-old game. So
totally, yeah.
I 100% understand your criticisms, but for me, I'm seeing it in a different light because I can appreciate, oh, cool, look what you've done here. But for somebody fresh to the series, it's still a 14-year-old game. Not in looks by any means.
Tough swallow. Yeah, it's a tough swallow, though.
Hey, to some people. I think, definitely to you, because I know the way you think, but some people will play this and go, this was really fucking awesome. You're not one of them. But see if you follow it for a story-based, like, there's games that come out today that feel older in the story. This feels like modern, up-to-date, on point.
Agree.
Story kept me going all the way through yet again. The way that it carries through to Mass Effect 2, like, you boot up, because I did boot up Mass Effect 2, sorry, this is the only time we'll jump in. And when you boot up Mass Effect 2 on the disc or the download, it just says, new load blah blah or import ME1 character. You click ME1 character and it's like you just keep all your settings blah 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 blah, and it's like boom, here's your choices you made. It goes dun 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 dun, like the one with Rex, like the one that you made with the Arachne. Yeah, the Arachne. And it's like it tells you all your choices and it says you finish Paragon or you finish Renegade, and I'm like cool. And I made a few Renegade choices at the end, but luckily this picked up and said you played Paragon, and I'm like, yeah, I did. I'm the hero of the galaxy. I suppose saving the entire galaxy kind of trumps being a bit of a dick to a couple of people on a space station. So yeah, it's cool that those choices come over. It goes even further into this in Mass Effect 2, so this is why I only played the opening hour or two in Mass Effect 2, and then I took a step back and went, I know how big and invested this game is, and I got invested in Mass Effect 1 again. I need to play some fresh stuff because these ain't counting towards my 12 games, because I still need to at least finish the 4 games for the end of the year. And I know I haven't touched a Soulsborne game, but I still need to at least do my 12 to justify myself. The Soulsborne was a silly challenge, but Mass Effect 2, I'm looking forward to you experiencing the opening of it, because it's like a whoa, like that's the sort of feeling I got even watching it again, because I mean I've only played Mass Effect 2 through twice.
Okay.
I've played Mass Effect 1 I would happily say 8 or 9 times at this stage, easily all the way through. Mass Effect 2 times, finished it when it first came out, and then I replayed it again when the DLCs all arrived and played it through then. Mass Effect 3 I've played through once and I've never touched the DLCs, so I'm looking forward to playing through 3 again. and 2, and I know once I've done all this run, I'm restarting all of them as Femshep and playing through as a Biotic, because that's what I like to do. And she's the biggest dick in the galaxy. Never mind John Shepard. Wait till Jane just shoots Rex in the face dead, doesn't give a shit. Spits in folk, tells them to go and kill themselves. Go and get your own dead wife. That's how Jane Shepard runs the galaxy. I can't wait to do that.
The at the end of the game, like I was Paragon, and I don't know if there's like other ways around it, but like I managed to talk Saren down, because he was like, oh, blah blah blah, I'm gonna fuck things up, and I'm like, no, you can still turn around and be good, and he was like, okay, and then I think he shot himself.
Right.
Yeah, he shoots himself, but then the other guy takes over. The thingy, the ship thing.
Sovereign possesses his remains, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
There is
That's
other
what
ways.
happens in my game.
If you don't do that, then you've got a harder boss fight, because you have to fight Saren himself before you fight the sort of spider jump about version of.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a slow version of the Geth Stalkers that you absolutely love fighting in the game that he plays as. But the thing is, he kind of throws other enemies at you as well. But if you just focus firing him, like they basically don't touch you that much. You watch your health and you fire at Saren at the end and you win. But you're right, it's almost as if they got to the end of the game, they upped the stakes that you knew were coming all along, and when you hit outside the Citadel and it's like, go and fuck them up, you feel like, okay, there's a couple of irritating moments like those insta-kill turrets, because they just suck, but see the run towards it and the sort of heroic music and the build-up,
it felt kind of epic.
Yeah. Kind of for a 14-year-old game, like, to get to there, but it's almost as if they went, right, this will do here, this is the moment we need to focus on, because this is what people will take away. And they did, and don't get me wrong, a lot of the planets are empty, a lot of the planets there's absolutely nothing on it, but you have to do it if you want to fill a codex. Sometimes it's one tiny item on a remain that's not even worth visiting the planet for. But again, this is an RPG from 14 years ago, when third-person RPGs that looked like this and had told a story like this simply did not exist, Andy, especially not from the West. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I mean, the funny thing is with it, like, it almost feels like two different games stitched together, because you've got all those like awesome like choice moments and the great story and like the cutscenes and all that, and you're like, wow, and then it takes you back to the gameplay, and it's like, the guy fucking running straight at you like the AI guy, and you're like,
if you shoot them too many times, they just run at you, and if you kill them on their way, they kind of run sideways as they're dying. But in this one, in the remake, they have fixed the cover, because in the original that I jumped back to play, you can't take cover all the time and you can't run yourself. So the improvements in this make it worthwhile. I'm happily going to play it again, but I'm glad that Andy finished it. I'm glad he liked the story, and I can't wait to hear what you think of the second. But I'll let you talk more. I just forgot about Mass Effect.
No, I was finished talking about Mass Effect anyway, but I haven't started the second one yet. I will be doing that in the next week or two. The other thing that I did play though was a new release. So last week, Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade came out on the PS5, which is the new version of Final Fantasy VII Remake. And it came along with a DLC called Intermission. Now there's a slightly convoluted way that you have to pull over your save file and all this shit, so you have to download the PS4 version, go and upload your save, and then download the PS5 version and download your save, and then you can delete the PS4 version. Which is a bit annoying, but this is the exact same thing as what Spider-Man had to do. But you'd think they would have fucking built this into the game, like when they first made it, because they obviously had planned for this game, maybe not so much for Spider-Man, but for this game, they clearly planned to make a PS5 version, and that's what they've been working on since launch, PS5 version and this DLC. The DLC is PlayStation 5 exclusive. It's not on anything else. It's not on PS4. It's not on any other platforms at the moment. So you can only play this on PS5. A PS5 exclusive, Ali! Woo!
We've already got Ratchet.
Now, this DLC, you play as Yuffie in Midgar, which is super weird. And to me, I'm like, oh, because obviously going into Final Fantasy VII Remake, right, I'm expecting it to be Final Fantasy VII in modern day graphics. So I like going into that game, not particularly hyped. I'm just like, I know exactly what it is, especially going in to play for the first hour of it for the first time, because we'd already played the demo. It's the same. That's the first hour of the game basically, and so I wasn't particularly hyped because I'm like, yeah, I need to just get through this first hour because I've already played it, and then after that, see what happens. So not excited, and even for the first hour, I'm like, yeah, this is basically as you would expect. It's just the same game but with different mechanics and much better graphics, same exact story and everything. And it's only after that hour that something changes, and then the game kind of starts to twist, and then towards the end of that game, it's a completely different game. So all that goes into intermission, and you go, Yuffie was never in Midgar.
Yuffie, you only found near the village, the Wutan village.
Yeah.
The Wutai village, sorry. And you had to do certain things. You had to do certain things to make her appear, and she jumped up every 6 encounters or something to steal stuff from you. Remember?
So Yuffie can appear as early as disc. It's on disc 1 still, but it's on the below the mountains after the Midgar Zolom when you go into forests down there. You can have her appear there. That's the earliest you can get her before you cross over. Most of the time it comes on the second island away once you go over on the once you go to Junnan and go over
to Costa del Sol.
Yeah, most of the time you get her there, but you can get her earlier than that. Like I always tried to get her early just so I had like most party members as early as I could. But in Midgar times, Yuffie, you'd no idea who she was. She was never mentioned. You didn't know anything about it. I think there might have been 1, maybe 2 mentions of Wutai and dialogue with NPCs in the original game, maybe. But in the remake, there's mentions of Wutai, like a good few of them. When you're walking past people, you can hear them talking about Wutai and stuff going on and things. So you're like, oh, like cool. It's just like a nice little nod, but. They obviously had planned to put Yuffie into this, and they've written it into the story in such a way that it works within the Final Fantasy VII Remake story so far. And I've seen people tweeting about like the ending, not what it is, but just people saying like, "Oh my god, like I need to talk to someone about the." I think it was Imran Khan tweeted like, "I need to talk to someone about the Final Fantasy VII Remake intermission ending, but no one's finished it. Help!" So I can't wait to see like. What happens towards the end of this, but in the game looks beautiful. First of all, they've done a great job of making an amazing looking game look even fucking better because it looks incredible on the PS5. Like it's stunning, honestly, absolutely stunning. You actually don't realize how good it looks at first, to be honest, because of what Yuffie's wearing. So like they start you off with her, and she's in like this fucking like. A Moogle poncho, which is really strange because like I don't ever remember seeing Yuffie in a Moogle poncho. She probably might have been in the game at some point, but I don't like in the original game, but I don't remember that. But she does shed that like kind of maybe about halfway through, or maybe not quite halfway through, maybe a third into this DLC. She kind of sheds that and like goes down and fights like in her normal sort of get up, and she looks really fucking cool. And she's an absolute badass in this game. Like it's ridiculous how fast the combat is. Like, I don't think I've ever played combat that's as fast as this. It's insane. Like how fast she fucking moves.
What I'll say, this has the worst DLC since Skyrim's horse. You can buy one. I'll say it again. One weapon for Yuffie. For half the price of the actual DLC. $7.99 to buy this thing. $7.99 for one weapon. It's not even a costume. It's a weapon.
No.
And I've seen it in action. It's like it's a cat car throwing star.
Yeah,
for £8. That's like national minimum wage. That's an hour's work to buy one DLC. Are they fucking kidding?
I think you're totally right. I think they've completely missed the point on missed the boat on the price of that DLC. See if that's £2, fine.
Fine, but
£8, no fucking way.
The DLC itself's only 16. Your whole story that you've told is £16, and you're trying to sell me one fucking weapon. And even if you've played the remake, you know that the weapons are interchangeable. Different swords are bought. This weapon might not be the one to last you through the whole DLC. Not everybody likes the cat
Probably
car.
not.
And
It looks
eight,
silly as a weapon. Stupid. No, it's not a weapon. It's a summon. A cat car
£8.
is a summon. It's not.
Even if it was a summon, Andy, I would disagree. Even if it's a summon, I would disagree.
Totally. No. I know, but like a cactuar to me is like, it's a fucking summon. You would use it as a summon, or it's an enemy
secret
fight in the
boss,
game.
yeah.
I would never ever want a cactuar weapon or like armor or a costume or anything like that. Never.
I'm not dissing the DLC. The DLC looks cool, blah blah blah. But then when I seen the DLC for the DLC, and I'm like, £8. What are you getting here? And I went,
Yeah.
Contains one item, weapon throwing star for Yuffie, and I'm like, okay, what else? It's just the throwing star. There's no costume. There's no soundtrack. There's no digital. What?
Yep.
How? Like, see if they'd said $7.99 for the deluxe edition, and you get like digital soundtrack, art book, you know, a few more costumes for Yuffie and the other guy you play as, maybe a special summon. Fair enough. But you're saying one weapon.
Yep.
Uno.
One weapon.
Square.
So
nah.
So when you start off in this game, you're starting off as Yuffie, and you're coming into Midgar for the first time.
How's her name pronouncing it? Is it Yuffie or Yuffie? Because I swap. Because I know you're saying Yuffie, but is it Yuffie?
Yuffie? I think they say Yuffie. I'm not sure. I always say Yuffie. Like that's the way I've always said it. So like,
I'm thinking of Advent Children. I think.
You know, I can't change that. Like regardless of how they pronounce it in the game, she's Yuffie to me. So but yeah, so like she's coming into Midgard for the first time, and she's going to meet people from Avalanche. Now it turns out that the people that we already know from Avalanche, they've actually gone off to like be a splinter group of Avalanche, like Barrett and Tifa and obviously Cloud that joins them. They are now like a splinter cell alley of Avalanche. And the people that we're interacting with in this game are the true Avalanche people that are still fighting the good proper Avalanche fight. They're trying to distance themselves from the other people because they are being seen as terrorists because they planted a bomb, a Mako reactor.
But see, when you think about it, right? When you think about it, Avalanche are terrorists. Like, who'd you play as in your favourite game of all time? Terrorists. Sure, you seem to be doing the good guy work, but you're actually planting bombs and blowing up and attacking government buildings. You're the terrorists.
You're the terrorists, yeah. But these Avalanche people that we're interacting with in this DLC are actually trying to distance themselves from them. And they're like, no, we're fighting the good fight, eco for the planet, all that sort of shit. And they're still Avalanche. And they've got an Avalanche headquarters and all this, and there's a few different people, and like it's not people that I've ever encountered before. They might be in the original game, but like I don't recall any of them. So to me, they're all kind of new characters. So you're meeting them all, and there's different ones. You talk to them, and they have alright sort of personalities. But the guy that's with you is another guy who's from Wutai, whose name's Sonnen. And now he is as far as I'm aware, again, a brand new character into the franchise, and obviously he is like he's not playable because you can't swap to him, but you can control his moves, sort of. So you can do team up moves with him, and you can also like request him to heal Yuffie and to use his magic and special powers and that sort of shit. By using the they've got the menu system as well as like active system, so that's fine. You can do that. I mean, it works really well, to be honest. In the combat, like the combat's like ridiculously fast and fluid, and you can fucking fly about like crazy, and it looks insane and cool as shit. Like some of the effects and stuff like that they've got going on are awesome. Yuffie's obviously got limit breaks, and you've got your magic and everything going on, and it all looks so cool. I haven't picked up any summons in the game yet, so I haven't seen any of the sort of summon things. But there is the guy. Remember the guy Chadley from Final Fantasy VII Remake? He's the guy that had the VR thing. You can do that. He's in this, and he's got like more bosses you can go and fight to get. And I would imagine that after you beat them, you get the summon. I can't even remember what fucking summon it was. But I did fight it, and I could not beat it yet, so I need to level up a wee bit before I can do that. But it's the exact same like way that you're upgrading your weapons and stuff in the game. You're getting your SP points, and and then you can use that to upgrade your weapons and unlock new materia slots and attack damage and defense buffs and whatnot. All that stuff like carries over perfectly from the original game. As I say, the combat does feel faster, but that's purely because Yuffie is like a speed character. She can steal and stuff, but like it doesn't feel very satisfying to steal things from people. Because you've got to like, there's no quick button for a steal. It's like, because usually you're bashing square to do your standard attack, and you're switching back and forth between like triangle, because like triangle throws a weapon, and then you can use square to have it like spin around in the air and then like do extra damage with like effects and stuff, which is really cool. But there's no like, you've got a steal and you can use mug obviously as well, but you have to go and select them from the command menus, which is like, like I'm having a lot of fun just like going back and forward and diving in and grabbing my weapon back out and attacking them again and stuff. And that shit's all really fun. That it's like I don't want to stop and do the command based side unless I need to heal or if I need to cast a spell to like do extra damage to like a machine. Like I'll do a Thundara spell on them, for example. But yeah, like combat and everything's really cool. I fought like a couple of bosses, which again are like the bosses they've done is basically just they've took a kind of slightly larger sized enemy from the original game and just made that into a boss. Nothing is like big and dramatic as like fighting the giant fucking house in Remake, or even nothing as big as or iconic as the guard scorpion, or even the like that flying fish thing. That because that boss fight was cool as fuck. But really fun all the same. I've really enjoyed playing it so far, and it's just been really nice to be back in that world. And the cool thing with, as I've said, with going back into this game is that like after Remake and after completing Remake, all bets are fucking off. They can do anything they want with this game now. So I'm like, what can I do as Yuffie like in Midgar? Like this is crazy. I have no expectation or anticipation of this. So I'm just like, I'm going around and I'm trying to like going to the different places in Midgard and see what happens, and listening to all the NPC dialogue to see what the people are talking about and everything. And there's bits of chat about Wotai and stuff, and there's a lot of people where we are in Sector 7 talking about talking about Avalanche like bombing the reactor, because that's kind of where this is set at the moment anyway. This is before the plate comes down. So after the bombing, before the plate comes down, I just saw a cutscene where they were talking about dropping the plate. So we're gonna kind of see that in this game, I would imagine as well, and then see kind of the devastation after that. Obviously, Tifa's bar is in this game as well, Seventh Heaven. So I'm like, I need to go in there, and you get to see Biggs and Wedge and Jesse, and you can go and chat to them, like, and you can kind of like listen to what they're saying, and then you can go and have a conversation with Jessie, who's sitting outside of Tifa's bar. She says she's waiting for someone, like who is Cloud. It's Cloud she's waiting for. And you can go and chat to her, and then she ends up getting annoyed with you and tells you to go away because you're just a little annoying girl to her. Because Yuffie's only like 16, so although she's like a badass warrior, she's like very immature. But see if you try and go into the pub, right? So Yuffie. In the original game, Yuffie didn't meet these characters until much later on, right? And if she went into the pub at this point, the like Cloud, Barrett, Tifa, they're in the pub. So I'm like, I want to go in, like, and like look and see, and see if I can see them. And it does not let you. Does not let you. But what it does is you go to try and go in, and it puffs you back with this like a sort of cloud. And I'm like, that's fucking cool, because a lot of places would just like not let you actually open the door. You'd just be like, it must be closed or whatever. But this one, they've built it into the Final Fantasy VII Remake story, because those spirit things want the story to play out in the specific way. They want it to play out in the way of Final Fantasy VII Original. So the spirit things stop Yuffie from going into the pub so that she doesn't meet the characters until much later. Which is
the thing is, you say play it the way you can finish Final Fantasy VII without Yuffie or Vincent. They're both optional characters.
You can. Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. But
Vincent more so.
I absolutely didn't mean them this way.
Vincent, you have to specifically look for. Yuffie, you'll encounter, but you don't have to get her in your party. But see, Vincent, I'm guessing now when he gets introduced in this, because of Advent Children and obviously Dirge of Cerebris, he'll be mandatory. He'll join the party, Vincent. Because I'd imagine
I
they
think,
could incorporate parts of Dirge of Cerberus into this at some point.
yeah, very possibly. Yeah, obviously, like it being,
Not directly,
this being
but-
all. No. Obviously, that's all being remake now. Remakes happened. All bets are off with everything going forward. Like they've changed the script entirely. Like it's a new fucking franchise. It's Final Fantasy VII in name and feel. The story could be completely different from here going forward. Like they can do whatever the fuck they want with it. It's very different.
As long as Advent Children's still canon and we get some sort of Crisis Core Zack stuff, I'm fine. Crisis is Advent Children could be, because it would be cool if these three the ghost things down the line turn out to be, you know, the reunion guys that look like baby Sephiroth in that movie. That would be cool if they kind of evolved down, not in this case, obviously, like in Remake 2 and 3, that's what it turns out to be, and it all ties in, because when I watched Advent Children the first time, I'm like, this doesn't feel like Final Fantasy VII, but seeing now that I've played a bit of Remake, I'm like, this feels like that world. This feels like Advent Children world. Advent Children did not feel like a continuation of 7 at all. It's sure it was what the characters did after, but the personalities, the way they were, the sort of setting and everything, okay, it was different, but this feels, it's got an atmosphere. I don't just mean the way it looks, because it does look like it, but it's got a feel that I got from the attitude of even Sephiroth. And I know in the original game you didn't have voice acting, you didn't have any like spectacular graphics, but you still got a feel for Sephiroth's personality in the original, and I didn't get that feel in Advent Children. But see, in this, you already meet him. You meet him early on, or you get a flash of him at least a few times, and like that Sephiroth is Advent Children Sephiroth, and that's the kind of canon going forward, because like Kingdom Hearts use that Sephiroth, Smash Brothers use Advent Children Sephiroth. That is not the Sephiroth from 7, and 7 Remake kind of incorporates that, but it's not what I mean. It's like, you know, when you go to a place and it's like, this is familiar, and you're like, oh yeah, this is really like such and such, like you go to Prestwick Beach, you're like, oh, this is really like bits of Dunur Beach or Air Beach, because it's similar but it's not the same place. Advent Children feels very similar, like it's set in the Remake world, is what I'm saying. They might avoid it completely, but if they do some twisty, want the fans to clap at the end of whenever they finish this, if they can wangle it in and tie it in so that Advent Children becomes fucking coherent, because the movie's not coherent, like, if they can explain that, it will blow my little mind. Like, I'll be like, you son of a bitch, you've did it. You know, I'll be like, oh. And I've got a feeling that they could angle towards this, because just from the music, the setting, like everything about it, the feel. It's not just the setting, it's not the characters, it's the feel of that iteration of the universe, if you will. It feels like Remake. But anyway, it's just my point of view more than.
Yeah, speaking of feel, like they've 100% got the feel here of Final Fantasy. Like it's a dangerous thing to do, to try and like add DLC into a game like this, especially like kind of unknown DLC for like kind of a randomish character. Like it's not like you're adding one of the mainstays here. You're not giving like Red 13 DLC, or you're not giving like Cloudmore DLC or Tifa DLC or Barrett DLC even. It's Yuffie DLC, who, as you say, optional character. Some people might never have even gotten her back in the day, but they've obviously taken the time and went, like, let's do something here with Yuffie. It could be cool to do this, and they've done a great job so far. Yuffie's cool as fuck. Like, Sonnen is really cool as well. I'm gonna guess that something happens to him, because like he is not about I mean, in terms of the main Final Fantasy VII story canon, he's not about.
But that's the old canon.
But yeah, all bets are off. Canon's out the fucking window, so we don't know. So we'll see. But like, I've really enjoyed it so far. It's been cool as fuck to be back in that world. Graphics are incredible. Plays brilliant. Like, when I'm playing the game, I've got a smile on my face the entire time. And like, I've heard it's only 5 hours long. I've already played for 5 hours, in fact nearly 6 now, and I'm only just gotten to chapter 2 in the DLC, and there's 2 chapters. So,
put in an Andy disclaimer here for normal people.
Totally, because I wandered about so much, and I went and did some of the side quests, and just like took in the world and listened to the music, and it was just so nice to be back in there and like talk to all the random characters. And one thing they've added in as well, they've added a mini game. Right, so Final Fantasy games quite often have a mini game. Like they have in the
Triple
past,
Triad.
you've had your card games like Triple Triad was so good.
Probably the best.
Stuff like that. But, I mean, Final Fantasy Seven had its own wee mini games in it
Snowboarding,
where you had
motorbiking, chocobo
motorbike,
breeding to an extent. You know, you had a gambling game of some sort as well. I can't remember what it was, but there was a gambling machine.
chocobo racing and everything. Like there was all sorts. This one though, you have a couple of ones. So they've brought back the one from Remake, which is just destroying boxes. That's fine. Just like you've got a time limit, go destroy as many boxes as you can. Cool. But then they've also added in a completely new one, which is the Fort Condor minigame. So I don't know if you remember this, but
I don't remember Fort Condor. Is that where you find Sid?
No. That's not where you find Sid. You find Sid at the Rocket Town.
What was Fort
He's in
Condor?
Rocket Town 'cause he's
Is it the
Rocket.
bird, the eagle
Fort
that's
Condor,
nesting?
it's the bird, yeah. It's where you get the phoenix summon materia. So
Yes.
with Fort Condor, what you do is you, after you've beat the Midgar Zolom, you go through the mountains, and then outside of that, there's like it's the next thing you would come across really down, kind of further down the map. Fort Condor's there, and it's optional completely. You can walk past it entirely. You don't need to go there at all. But what they've done in this game is they've made it as like a board game, right? Basically, so loads of people play Fort Condor. They've got this like little Fort Condor board. And basically you've got like three sort of like totems that you have to protect, and the enemy's got three totems you have to destroy. And you've got like a sort of bar that fills up over time, and you need to spend your points that build up on hiring guys essentially, which is kind of the way it worked in the Fort Condor minigame. So like you would hire a bunch of guys and you would place them down, and they would fight it out, and you would see if they would be able to defend the fort from the Shinra invasion. Exactly similar thing happens here, but you're just waiting for this bar to fill up, and then you're placing your guys, and you need to be strategic about what guys you're placing when, and you've also got a couple of spells that you can use to try and attack things. It's a cool little mini game, relatively basic, but it's quite fun. I like
Do you know what's so crazy about this remake? All in. This is the most extensive. Apologies here given to Resident Evil, but this is the most extensive, like total. I'm not just talking about the story. I'm just talking about total redo. And yes, that's blasphemy when it comes to Resident Evil, but I would say Resident Evil is kind of, apart from 3, Resident Evil 2 and 1, they're very close to what we got, right?
Yeah.
The gameplay, the collectibles, the locations of some of the items, you know, the general aesthetics and stuff. This from 7, and these are both, Final Fantasy 7 is from about the same era as Resi 1 anyway. Resi 2 wasn't far behind it. So like, this being a remake, it's obviously kind of seen what Resident Evil done, like Resident Evil 2 and 3. Oh, absolutely, my back's sore again. Absolutely superb remakes, but this takes it to a whole nother level. Like, and I know I get stuck at it, whatever, but like the game itself, like when everybody's seen Advent Children, love it or hate it, or be confused by it, like you're looking at it going, I want my game to look like.
100%. You look at that fight and you go, I want to
do
play that.
So
yeah,
they've done it, is what I'll say. They've done it, right? And this was a PS4 game. Can you imagine when the second part comes during the PS5 life cycle? Because I know we're getting the second part during this life cycle.
Oh my god.
And
my god, I cannot wait, man.
And you get to Nibelheim and you get to maybe fight Sephiroth for the first time, and it goes da 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 Sephiroth, and you're up in the air giving it like a total anime kind of Matrix Reloaded style fight against Mr. Smith, and it's you and Sephiroth, and he's like, good try, and all that, and it's like my goodness. And like I was just thinking, I still haven't watched the 4K of Advent Children, but I remember seeing Advent Children the first time being like, the film throughout Dilly Dally Shilly Shally, fucking Cloud spent about half the film on a motorbike doing fuck all. There was a weird disease that went over the kids, and you seen Bammit, and it was like, yeah, that's cool. But then at the end, when Sephiroth kind of, he either get resurrected or Cloud imagined it or something. I don't know what happened, but he fought fucking Sephiroth.
He got to fight him. He fought fucking
Sephiroth. And when everybody that was a Final Fantasy VII fan watched that, their jaws hit the floor and they went, we've got Crisis Core, I suppose, because that came out at the same time, but I want to play this. And jokingly, you would say with your friends, imagine it looks like that one day. It does. That's what this does.
In our lifetimes as well, man. In our lifetimes as well.
And I never ever thought I would see that.
Fucking cool.
I never thought I would see that. But
you need to go back and play Final Fantasy VII Remake.
I put it on to see the graphics, like I said.
Yeah.
I thought it looked good anyway. I'm not going to lie. I don't notice. Obviously, I'm not nitpicky. I'm not an Andy, look at every doorway. I wouldn't have noticed that basic bitch door that everyone moaned about. I thought it looked incredible anyway. I've never took anything away from the graphics. So playing the new one, I've tried it in performance. I've tried it on 4K mode. Yeah. I mean, it's more like playing Ghost of Tsushima on PS5 than like a whole new version.
It's not a whole new version, but
but that's not taken away from how good the game looks anyway. But see, playing through it and like now that I'm on PS5 and I've played the likes of Ratchet, I'm like, the PS5 can do more, man. Like, COVID sucks because of games mostly. Like, I know friends and family. Sorry, I'm not like trying to downplay COVID and stuff like that, but you know, like. See next year, man. See when games that have been delayed for a year, movies that have been delayed for a year, TV shows. Next year is going to be the year of fucking media that blows our heads off, because it's like, what's out this week, Andy? I need the schedule. Like, we're going to have a fucking group chat for just the fucking game releases so we can keep on top of them. And I am going to need my card taken off me next year, man. I am going to need to hide that. I'm going to need to delete my banking app, my PayPal and everything, because it'll be like, oh my God, I need this next week. Oh my God, this is coming. They're releasing games on a Wednesday now, Andy. There's summer releases, Andy. But yeah, anyway, Final Fantasy VII Part 2 will not be out next year, but I don't think it's too far away. I think we see it by 2023. That's my prediction on it.
I think so, yeah.
I think we get another. Right. I think we get another DLC before then, next year.
Oh, you think so? Okay, maybe.
I think we get Vincent. I think we get Red 13 kind of prequel, because I've not spoiled the ending. I still don't know the ending, but I know you see Red 13. I know he doesn't join your party, but see, to get a Red 13 prequel sort of DLC would make sense to me to fill the gap, or like even a Vincent. What's he up to? I know he's in a coffin technically, so it might not work, but it depends on how they're reworking into the story.
Like, the DLC's just a video of him like that.
Yeah, it's just him sleeping, and it's like, yeah, but no, but you know, they could do something like that, or it could be Turks. You could play the Turks.
They could do the prequel to show why he goes into the coffin. Like, they could do that.
You could get Zack DLC. Tell us a bit more about Cloud, because that story's still confusing as fuck.
Yeah, and it's not going to get any more confusing with playing through Remake, but in fact, yeah, it's going to get more confusing playing Remake, to be fair.
Because, like, in the original...
Things are more confusing.
Right, so in the original, it's like, you find out halfway... Sorry, spoilers for a game that came out in 1997, but Cloud isn't his own person. He's kind of got a split personality. He was just a basic soldier that lied to his childhood sweetheart, Tifa. Although the game makes it out as if he's in love with Aerith at first. And it's like, well, why is he ignoring Tifa so much? And I know some of these are your choices, but the game kind of pushes you that way. And the reason is because you find out that him and Zack kind of get captured after a mission at a reactor, and they got exposed to Mako, and that's why Cloud's eyes are like glowing that iridescent fucking turquoise. Yep. And his mind kind of get merged with Zack's in a way.
Bit, yeah. Like,
in a way is the best way I can describe it.
He got confused by the Mako poisoning, basically. Mako poisoning.
And he lived out Zack's life and claimed to be a first-class soldier, and then Aerith...
Yeah, and to be fair, right, like, he was never technically a soldier first class, right? But he basically was by the end of Crisis Core. Yeah. Zack kind of passes the mantle on to him.
Crisis Core explains it more, yeah.
Yeah, like Cloud does a good solid for Zack, and he like fights alongside him and all that, and he goes through the same sort of shit Zack does. Zack's the hero at that point though, but then he passes it along to his sidekick. It's like Batman passing the mantle on to Robin,
which has happened before, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like that,
but
which is fine.
You don't know any of this just playing the original. All you know is that
no, you don't know.
Cloud stole his clothes and his swords, and then... But basically, Cloud, like the Mako poisonings, kind of almost linked the two of them, and they've relived parts of their life, and like Cloud's picked up parts of Zack's life Cloud and combined it.
Yeah, he's got parts of Zack's memories and stuff. Like, I still always ship Cloud and Tifa. Like they're
that's the two. That's the always. Two. And when I first played it, though, it was Aerith, and I relied on her, and she had some of my fucking good shit when she gets stabbed. and I wasn't. People were like, "Oh, I cried like a baby when Aerith gets stabbed by Sephiroth." I was mad.
Like, oh well.
I was like, I need to reload my save because she had some of
We try and save her.
no. I didn't believe in that. She had some of my good material and items and stuff, and I'm like, I need to take them off her before that scene because it wasn't anything irreplaceable. But I'm like, she had one of my fucking like titanium bangles, which at that point in the game were hard to acquire, and I'm like, she can't die with that on her, man. Like, take it off of her. Like, let her go into the live stream. Like, let Gaia take her, but take her bangle, Cloud. Like, she doesn't need that shit. But he doesn't. And then when you look back up, I'm like, where's my fucking bangle? And yeah, so.
Yeah. But yeah, so intermission so far, absolutely loving it. It's great to be back in the Final Fantasy VII Remake world, and like from playing through this, like I started like going and looking up. I'm like, I should fucking platinum this game, like Final Fantasy VII Remake, because like I love this. It's so good. I want to go back and play it again on the harder difficulty, finish off like the collectible things that I never got. Just fucking be in that world some more. And like I've got objectives to do in it because I can go and knock out those trophies. And like, I think I'm gonna do that. So I'm
here's a question for you. Do you think they will, or do you think they have to kill Aerith in this series the way she died?
Right. So I'll tell you as a spoiler. Right, they don't kill her in this game.
No,
right?
I know they don't because I've seen kind of a picture, but I've not seen how they got to that stage, so I don't know the whole part, but I know Aerith's alive at the end of this. So my question is, though, does she survive because she's a fan favourite and they've realised now, or do they have to kill her because of the iconic moment in the original?
Yeah, that's the question, isn't it?
Yep.
But as I said, the way that they've done this game, all bets are off.
Absolutely,
like,
but
from fucking Snatch. They
could
kill her. They might not. They might do nothing. They could kill Sephiroth. I don't think they will.
Sephiroth's too iconic, but there's going to be certain story beats they're going to have to hit. They're going to follow a certain style of path. They've went off the beaten path even where I've got to, right? But they're going to follow certain parts. So that's not my question. In your gut feeling, are they going to show us that stab? Or are they going to leave her alive because people have seen it and they won't expect her to live and they kill Barrett?
Right, so by the point where you get to that, it's the creator. If they did that right, like, because I think they'll still roughly follow a lot of the same story, and like the places and the moments will still happen in roughly the same order. Things inside those places will happen very differently, I think. But so by the time you get to that point, have you already been to the Gold Saucer and met Dane or Dine?
Barrett's friend.
Yeah, the guy that's the
you have.
Arlene.
Yeah, you have. And you've done the fight.
You've done the fight.
As far as I know, because I'm sure after that.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, because you go to Temple Ancients and then that's where Aerith dies. Yeah, you're right. So I think that they could kill Barrett there and then replace him with Dine. I think they could do that.
Yeah, there's a twist. Like everyone's waiting for. Oh, here's where Aerith dies, and it's not. It's Barrett that dies.
No, and they kill Barrett instead, and then
Dine takes over the role.
Yep. So yeah, I think that could work. Yeah, definitely. And I think by the end of the game, Dine dies as well, and then you've got Cloud and Tifa raising, or Cloud and whoever else, whichever character you choose, because you can choose to kind of hook up with.
It'd be Aerith. It'd be Aerith and Dine. Imagine Dine hooked up with Aerith by the end.
Weird. Yeah, that would be weird because he's kind of older, but like, I mean, she maybe kind of likes the older guy. You know, Cloud's a little bit older. But I never liked Aerith in the original game, but like I like her a lot more in this. She's cool in this. Like she's a bit more of a dynamic character instead of just an annoying fucking be arsehole.
I could see Aerith's village, you know, where the school is, being a set up place of that's where Marlene ends up with the kids, and Aerith's mum takes care of her as well.
Yeah, for sure.
That's just
they could go in like so many paths, like so many different paths.
Another.
Like it's gonna be so cool. I can't wait to see what they do.
Here's another. Is Kate Sith still Scottish? Is that canon now? Is that
I think
Scottish
it
actor?
is. Yeah, it's me. I'm Kate Seth. I've already been cast. Announcement.
Do you know you're that bad with accents? I don't even believe you could do the sort of over-exaggerated Chuchter accent that Kate Sith did.
Just speaking my normal voice and then.
That's not Chuchter enough. You're basically
I'm a
Ayrshire.
Shinra middle manager. I'm a Shinra middle manager.
That wasn't even Scottish. Like, so yeah, no, it's cool. It's fun that they could take it in different directions. Obviously, like I've not seen the ending of this one, but yeah,
Just
it's exciting.
put it easy.
So
Just
no, I'm
put
not
it
doing it
easy
easy.
and
No,
play through it.
nah,
No,
I
just
can
do
sit
it.
with fucking God of War. So like, here's the other question as well. Then we kind of hypothesized that in the second part of it, because we kind of guessed they're going to do 3 parts, like the 3 discs. It would make sense. They could do a 4th, but who knows? So the second part is going to be PS5. Are they going to utilize the PS5 tech, and are they going to take a bit longer? Is this going to be 2024, and is it going to be open world like we thought? Because that's obviously the next step. Or is this going to be kind of branching paths is the best way we can describe it, you know, like semi-open, maybe a bit bigger than it was before, or are we going to get a legit open world Final Fantasy 15 style, you're in the open fucking world now surprise? How are they going to play it?
Yeah, I think they go to Final Fantasy 15 open world, but with Final Fantasy 7's like story direction, because the story in this game is really tight, and like I mean, like Final Fantasy 7's world, bear in mind, it's fucking empty. There's like 10, maybe 10 places you can go on the map, maybe slightly more or less. Like there's about 10 places you can go into on the map, and the rest is just like there's a big open space, and occasionally you'll
Get
hit a random enemy.
So do you think they're going to do it that
do
way?
something similar with that. I think so. Yeah, they might have like bits and pieces like around it. There'll be a road. There'll be a road rather than just like green grass.
You mean like at the start of
'cause it
Final
never made
Fantasy
sense
15,
to me.
like 15, where it's kind of open, you know, when you're at Cindy's garage, but you still feel like
but
you
it's,
have to stay
go
there.
along the road.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally like that. So like it'll be like there'll be a road from Midgar to fucking Cam. Like it made no sense that it was just like it's just Midgar, this
field.
big city here, and then there's just a giant field, and then Cam is like a wee village over there. What? Why is there no road? People obviously travel this road. People do have kind of like car-ish type things in this. They have
They do.
chocobos. There would be
Bikes.
tracks at very least.
Motorbikes.
Motorbikes. Yeah, there's tons of cars in fucking Midgar. There would be 100% a road because you're getting shit from Cam for sure, and there's going to be trade going back and forth. There would be a road. It made no sense that there was no road there in the original game, so there would be a road. And there'll be bits and pieces, maybe a look along the road, like maybe there'll be a gas station, or maybe there'll be like
The road
one
wasn't
random
finished
house
in
along the
7.
way.
That's why Cloud jumped the motorbike at the end.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, there'll be something. Like it's not like Midgar's a big city. It's been there for obviously years. They're not gonna just put that up and had no road. They have no roads between any places on any of the maps at all. There's not a single road in the overworld.
You think
Seven.
maybe kind of the same pattern as 7
I
Remake
think it's
part
15.
part 1, but more like 15, where it's open but you can't go too far. There'll still be like cliffs that you can't climb to keep you in, but it'll feel like an open world where you might get some missions along the road by like soldiers that have broken down or refugees and stuff, and you might have to help
totally.
people, but it'll push you towards like Cam and then the Wutan village and whatever. Wutai.
Yeah. Wutai is like a way over the other side of the world. Because like if you remember like the way that the world's set up, it's kind of almost split into different segments. So like Midgar is at the top of the right hand side, and then you can go to Cam, and then after that it's like Chocobo Farm, and then Midgar's Ollum, and then you go south. But there's a big giant mountain range that splits that continent in half. You can't go south. You can't get south. You have to go round, go through the Midgar's Ollum, go through that swamp, go through the mountains, and then you can go down and then round to Junin.
Yeah, where the cannons are.
Yeah, where the cannon is. Yeah, so you couldn't just go straight from Midgar to Junin. You can't do it. You can't get over that mountain. So they've got an easy. There's a clear path there. Like run along, down, and then back along. Clear path. That's the second game basically. Like, getting to the gold saucer.
Do you think the last part of the second part is the fight with the first weapon? Do you think that's the big boss at the end of the second part?
Yeah, it could be, because obviously you never fought that in the original game.
Yeah,
It
you
just
did.
happened.
You fought the ultimate weapon.
Fight it.
The ultimate weapon. They called it the ultimate. They called it the ultimate weapon, but it wasn't the ultimate weapon, because then you fight Ruby, Omega, and Sapphire and whatever.
Harder. Yeah.
And do you think then, in the same respect, if they stick to 3 parts, then the third part has to be open world, because they're going to have open world to do the end game stuff, like the Ruby weapon that's in the sand, or the one that's underwater for the Aqua one, you know. Do you think they're going to do that? Do you think there's going to be like 20 weapons this time? How do you think they're playing this out from beginning? When do you think it finishes? Do you think it's still 3 parts? Do you think they ever release a complete collection where it all links? How does your save carry over as well? Because there's no real decisions in it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think your save really needs to carry over, to be honest. Like, the decisions that you make in the game only affect like 1 or 2 things in the game, like, and it's mostly to do with trophies, really. Like, it's to do with the dresses, to see which dress you get, really. That's the biggest thing it affects in the game. Obviously, without having the second game to see if it pulls over or not. But yeah, like, they could go in all manner of different directions, but I think that's the kind of like standard path it's going to take. Go Calm, Chocobo Farm, Midgar's Olim, which is going to be cool to fight, not like, because it'll look insane. Then going south to Fort Condor, going through, it'll be a battle at Fort Condor, I would imagine, a proper battle. And then going down to Junin, and then going across to the other side of the world. And there's so much in that game that's like iconic as fuck. Like, every single like story bit is so iconic that like they can make the best games of all time here. And like 7 Remake is like right up there for me. Like, not as good as 7, but it's like, it's not that far off it. Like, it's an amazing game. Like, and having it with better graphics and everything is cool as fuck. And yeah, like I said, I want to go back and play through and polish off the trophies, because like, I like getting platinums, and I'm really bad for just going and like buying a cheap shitty game off of PSN that takes 20 minutes and I get a platinum, and I'm like, cool, I binged all the trophies, great. But like, that's like, you get the endorphin rushes and whatnot off of getting the trophies. But like, how cool would it be to get like fucking platinum in Final Fantasy VII? Like, in both of them, really. Like, I want to do the other one as well, the original version of the game too. But like, this one, I'm like...
So yeah. Do you know what to do? Platinum the original, load up the PS5 version, and your trophies ping through.
Yeah. So like, I've already pulled all my trophies through. I pulled my save file over, so I can just continue on from where I was at. Yeah,
but they won't unlock in the original if you do it that way. But if you go back to the original...
Yeah.
You could double down.
New graphics.
But you could double down here. You say nice new graphics as if they've done a lot to it. They haven't. They've polished it.
Yeah, but it loads faster. It looks better. I've got 60, 4K, blah, blah. I'm playing the new version, mate. I'm not going...
I'm just saying you can
get
double
is always better.
Double the platinum.
Don't care. New is always better.
You should, Andy. No plats.
Yeah, that's me. But yeah, if I can platinum the PS5 version, I'm 100% happy with that.
So would you start from the beginning, or no? You've got your save file, haven't you?
No, because I've got my save file over, so I can start from where I was at. Obviously, I've already finished the game. I can go to New Game Plus, and I can play the game on hard now. Because you have to play the game twice regardless anyway. Because you have to beat it on hard, normal, like hard.
I hate that. I hate when that's a trophy thing or a achievement thing. Finish it now on hard. I'm like, nah. No. If you gave me something in the second playthrough that I could only achieve in hard mode, like a certain weapon, worth it, but you're just saying play it through again.
Yeah, I mean there is new things that you can only get in the hard modes. Like, there's new bosses and stuff you can only fight in hard.
Not linked to an achievement though.
I mean, the hard mode itself is, when you beat it, that's one of the trophies.
I mean, this game's coming to PC
normally in the same boat
soon as well.
Oh yeah.
No. They got listed. They found it in the Epic Store listings.
Yeah, it got leaked. Yeah.
Yeah, which makes sense because I mean they never said it was exclusive. They just said they'd launch exclusivity, and the thought behind the DLC coming out was to extend the exclusivity. for another 6 months. So I think by the end of the year, come maybe January, it'll be out on PC. I don't know about Xbox. But I think it's definitely coming to PC.
I do think it will come to Xbox as well, and Xbox will put it in Game Pass day one for sure.
They will, 100%.
Which is fine, because like I want as many people to play this game as possible. Like I'm happy for it to be exclusive to exclusive to PlayStation for launch or for a year or whatever it is. It doesn't even matter. Like I'm going to play it on PlayStation regardless of where or when it comes out.
Has it been a year yet? I don't think so.
Yeah, it's been a year. It's been 1 year. Because this came out like at the beginning of COVID, basically, like just after like lockdowns and shit hit.
So it's been a year.
It was the best thing about lockdown was being able to be completely off, with no work, and just play Final Fantasy till 7 in the morning. Like it was fucking great for 3 days. And after that, it's like, oh shit, I don't have anything to do.
Yeah.
I can't go anywhere. But those 3 days were incredible, just being in the Final Fantasy Sim world and like, yeah, I'm fucking like back into this. So good, awesome game. But yeah, I don't have very much more to say. I'll speak more about it because I'll finish it by next week for sure. So I'll speak more about it next week. But the DLC is excellent. It's so far for me, it's definitely worth the £16. I had like a £10 voucher left over from buying Mass Effect anyway from CD keys. Always buy your PSN vouchers through CD keys, by the way, because you'll save some money. Like I saved about a tenner, so that's only really cost me a fiver. So yeah, but so far I'd say it's worth the £16. Like it's fucking cool to play. But yeah, that's all I played. Didn't play anything else.
Cool then. We'll actually just finish up there. I do have another game to talk about that came out today, and that is Alex Kidd DX Super Edition Special. Amazing game. So this game, I'm going to do a first impressions video. It'll be up hopefully tomorrow night. So this game's basically a kind of .emu style. What they did with Wonder Boy 3, The Dragon's Trap. I didn't go into this expecting to get... I didn't go into expecting to be able to swap between graphics, which you know I love. Streets of Rage 4 when they did it was cool. This is by Jankin Team and Merge Games though. It's nothing to do with .emu, but it feels like it's done with that level of respect, love and care, which is awesome. And as much as I like the new hand-drawn art in these games, there's something about that old do 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 do. And see, to me it was always Alex the Kid. It's a bit like, see, when it was Sonic the Hedgehog, the fastest living creature, Sonic the Hedgehog. I used to always make my wee songs up. So when this game first came out, it was built into a lot of Master System 2 consoles, like built-in game. A bit like Astro Bot on your PS5, if you will, for you young kids.
Yeah.
So I remember I was like, I didn't take to Alex the Kid as much, I'll be honest. I'm a Sonic guy. So was the world once he arrived. So my mum never got me the Alex Kid when I got it, like a year after all my friends. And it was Sonic. I got it when I was 5. A lot of my pals had it when they were 4. And I remember my 5th Christmas, Sonic loading up. It was amazing. But then all my pals were still, because see, back then it was like, well, you've got a game for it. A lot of the kids, it was like, your parents wouldn't spend like the 40, 50 quid because game prices haven't changed. Like I paid, I still remember paying 45.99, I think it was, in Woolworths, or 44.99 for Sonic Chaos. So people complaining about game prices going up to 70 are mad, because I'm talking, this is back in the 90s, like early 90s. I'm talking 1991 or 1990.
30 years ago, yeah. Games went up £20. That's fine. Wages have went up 3 times what they were back then. You were getting like an hour or whatever. Now most people are getting like.
So I discussed this today at work, and people were saying, yeah, but £70 for a game's extreme, and I'm like, what'd you pay at the cinema? About £20 each ticket. £20 a ticket, say, right? If you go to Glasgow or you go to one of the better cinemas, £20, Andy, to see a film you don't own. You can only see it once and then it's gone. You pay £70 for a game, right? Your film's 2 hours on average. So you buy a game like, say, Final Fantasy VII that we've just been talking about. You get 14 hours easily out of that, which counts to 14 hours of movie. 14 hours of movie is 7 if you half that per price. So you're getting like... My maths is all gone. But basically, what I was saying is, I own this game, and some games you go back to after you finish them and play them and play them and play them. NBA, you can play for the whole year for £70. Do you know what I mean? You're not going to watch a film all year every night. So that's the big difference in the media forms.
Imagine you bought a movie and just watched it every single night. Movie.
Here's the other thing. Movie sequels aren't always better. Game sequels 9 times out of 10 are. They always improve on them. But anyway, back to Alex the Kid. So this game came out today. You can get it on Switch, PlayStation. It's the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, but obviously it's playable on the new consoles as well. Yeah. It looks really nice. It's such a challenge. I am actually going to try and beat this game. I couldn't get past the second guy because it was rock, paper, scissors was the boss. And it was, I don't know how much they've changed it in this one, but I remember it being absolutely solid, and it would just blink, and you would have to get it right. And there was a guy with a head like scissors, a guy with a head like a fist, and a guy with a head, well, that's rock obviously, and a guy with paper. They've added slight story elements to this, because you touch the statue and it's kind of explaining what's happened with the world, and it wasn't there in the original. And when you flick back to the original and they've got this like sort of statue, it's like, that's definitely not there in the opening level of Alex Kidd, because I've played it several times. Like the amount of times I would have friends I was friends with their Master System. They just were an accessory to me. So I don't. So I would go around to the house and I'd be like, yep, cool, nice to see you. Johnson Quavers, nah, go away. And it'd be like this Mario, I'm like, you're not taking it off me. So anyway, I played Alex Kidd over and over and over. I got to like the second, I never ever beat it. I found it quite tough. You end up getting like a bubble copter, like a helicopter that looks like a bubble. You get a submarine. So I've made it so far to the underwater levels in my kind of, because I wasn't allowed to talk about it last week. It was even come up saying unknown game, like it wouldn't even show what I was playing and things like that, which is quite cool. So this game's out now today. You can go and buy it. Check out tomorrow. My first impressions will be up on the channel. I think it's cool. They've totally redone the sound as well, and the way that you can flick backwards. I'm not going to lie, sorry guys for putting so much time into it. I'm probably going to play with 8-bit graphics because that appeals more to me. I'd done the same for Wonder Boy. I played Streets of Rage 4 through on the 16-bit graphics settings. It's just, there's something nice about it. It's nice to appreciate, oh cool, look what you've done. You've hand-drawn the whole game right back to 8-bit. That's my jam because that's nostalgia for me. So yeah, Alex the Kid DX, check it out. And the channel will have it up tomorrow. I only got to the underwater level, which is the second part, and one of the fucking frogs killed me with its bubbles, and it annoyed me because you get the and I was like, no. So I need to get good. Basically, this is my Bloodborne of the Master System era. So yeah. Anyway, apart from that, we do have some channel changes. However, they're not finalised. We apologise. We will discuss them more next week. This is mostly because me and Andy haven't. We discussed it and we went, yeah, it sounds cool, but we haven't set in stone what we're going to be doing. Can we expect Gears of Wednesday tomorrow? No. We will tell you that. Gears of Wednesday is going away. I know the millions and millions of Gears of Wednesday fans will be crying themselves to sleep tonight.
We will finish that.
We'll finish it.
Doing it on stream was pointless because you couldn't see either of us. You couldn't hear Ali. Like,
yeah,
it's a fun enough game, but like, it's pointless. It's
pointless streaming that one. So we will have something to fill its place pretty soon, possibly next Wednesday. Stay posted for that. However, this week, no Gears of Wednesday, so no video tomorrow, right? But you will be getting my first impressions. We are still going to be doing weekly content. It's just the format of it's going to change. Tuesday night's podcast will always and has always been on a Tuesday. Friday, I kind of like Friday for the news, so that's going to remain unchanged. However, the rest of the week might change week to week. But we'll finalise it between me and Andy throughout the week, and we'll talk more about it in next Tuesday's podcast. Stay tuned for that. Like I said, tomorrow night you will have my impressions video of Alex Kidd up about 9 PM UK time, but it's not going to be as strict. If I can get it up earlier, you might see it in the afternoon. I'll notify everybody on Twitter when that is up and available. I am doing reviews in 3 stages now. I'm definitely doing that, as I said to Andy. So you see my first impressions of Ratchet last week. What I'm going to be doing for these games is 1 month in of owning the game, or 1 week in, depending on the length of it. If it's a small indie game that you can finish in a day, you're going to get 1 week later. Basically, I want to give the people a realistic view of games. Not everybody sits and plays a game in a 12-hour burst and finishes everything. So you're going to get first impressions, which is the opening hour. We used to do the first 42. I'm going to be doing an opening hour, first impressions, and it's going to be there. A month or however long it'll be like, this is what I think about it now. Be it I've been stuck, be it I've enjoyed it, that you're going to get that. And then you're going to get a final review, so a 3-stage review, and that's more realistic to actual gamers that are our age that don't have the time that a 20-year-old would go, fuck it, I'm pulling a sickie at work and spending 6 days to beast Resident Evil 8. Darren. So these sort of things, he never took 6 days off. He finished it really quick actually. But this is how I'm wanting to structure reviews here now in the show. I'm going to be doing it this way. So if anybody's got any comments or doesn't like me doing it that way and wants me to slave over games and not enjoy them, I'd rather enjoy a game. I would. And do you know what kept playing in my head, Andy? And I told you this, when I had to review for all games, Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, which is a game that's meant to last you a year, I finished it in under a week and tested out all the multiplayer modes to get that review out for launch day. I never played that game again. And we're like you've said before, this isn't our job. I still want to enjoy my games. So I've tried too much since the start of this show to beast games through that are brand new so that I could get the new information or review it properly for everybody. And I know we haven't managed to do that recently. And I'm like, why not give real world impressions? So 3-stage interviews, 3-stage reviews is what I'm going to do. And Andy, you're obviously going to join that because you don't have time to beast games either. So this is a much better way, and we have to do content the way that we would like to see content as well. That's how we've always done the shows. What do we think's cool? What do we like? What do we see is popular? And like Gears of Wednesday, for example, I'm enjoying playing Mandy. We will finish Gears 5, but the stream just didn't make sense for the YouTube because you couldn't see even Andy, you couldn't hear me, and it was a one-sided conversation every week. So what started at good views went to nothing. We've also realised, and this is backstage talk, YouTube isn't the platform. At the moment, according to Fraser, it's going to be Twitch is the platform for streaming. And I discovered
that streaming game content, I think.
Yeah.
Podcasts are different. Podcasts
are different.
Here,
yeah, of course, we're not changing that.
It's fine. But for streaming games, Twitch is still
the number one.
We would stream our Gears video onto Twitch, and it would get more views on the Twitch than it would get when we put it to YouTube.
When we imported it, and that would be within the same night. We would finish it, and I'd hit import to YouTube. And by the next night, you'd have 15, 16, at least views on the Twitch.
Yeah.
And then we'd upload it to YouTube, we'd get 2, 3, 4. So to all those people that are watching this going, where the fuck's my Gears Wednesday? That's why, we're going to work on more content, different content for you guys. And hopefully it turns out better. I really enjoyed what we did at E3. And we can't do E3 every week. Really good. But
no,
we also can't do a daily show every day, but there's going to be different things filling in the spaces of certain things. Andy's Bloodborne will continue, I believe. We can touch on that because
I want to finish it off because I'm so close to the end. I might as well finish the series.
But again, we have penciled in schedules for ongoing since we're now YouTube, and we're going to have to tweak this as time goes on, see what works, see what doesn't work. Podcast remains the same and always will. So even if we delete everything else, including the news, the podcast is always going to be on a Tuesday, I think, some shape or form.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because this is the mainstay, this is where we started. So but yes, again, tomorrow night you will be able to see by tomorrow night my first impressions of Alex Kidd, and whether it's me dying at that first section for an hour, you're going to get my impressions of it. Really enjoyed what they did with it so far. I would absolutely adore someone, and I don't know if Sega would allow it, do this with the Master System Sonic the Hedgehog game, which is my favourite Sonic one, is the Master System version. Cool. If they did this with the art style, that would be phenomenal. Do it with swappable art styles. Do it with swappable. Yeah, give me 8-bit, 16-bit, and give me hand-drawn. I want.
Oh my god, that'd be nuts.
Doable. Put me in charge of that project, Sega. Put me in charge of it. Don't expect me to program anything, but I'll get it done for you. Anyway, yeah, like I said, you'll get the finalised schedule next Tuesday on what we're actually going to be doing. Tomorrow night, like I said, first impressions. Thursday night, unclear at the moment. Thursday night's unclear. Friday night, however, we'll be back right here with the news. So this is why I've not handed over to Andy, because this week's a reduced schedule again. Thursday night might be empty. This week. But Friday we will be back with the news. But thank you very much for tuning in and watching. Like, share, subscribe, comment, all that good YouTube stuff. According to the experts, I should have said that at the start of the show as well. I didn't. If you've made it this far, then surely you would have subscribed. Why wouldn't you? Anyway, thank you very much. And we'll catch you next week on the podcast. But before that, we'll see you on Friday. I've been Ali, he's been Andy. We'll catch you next time. Bye.